This is Snakes and Otters, a pointless discussion of eternal questions. Get ready. We're about to live in your head rent-free.
Welcome, Otterites. This is Brother Andre coming to you with episode 229.
I am Martin.
I'm Robert.
I'm Francis.
I am Marcus.
And I'm Brother Andre. Today we are going to be exploring an unfielded area for us. We are going...
What kind of episode is this?
Oh, this is a Hoopajoob.
Hoopajoob!
Episode.
There we go. Sorry. We got to say that. We got to do Hoopajoob!
It's a big metal hoopajoob.
That's right.
And it goes up your butt.
Well, I wasn't going to say that part. That's right. But anything could happen in a Hoopajoob. You
Not
might
that,
never know.
Not that. No. No. No.
Well, I mean,
With a few caveats, yes.
most things are possible in any of the episodes, considering the rabbit holes we do.
Well, that's correct.
But
We're
yes,
notorious
This
for
one
that.
especially is essentially licensed to rabbit hole.
Yeah, to free wheel.
Yeah.
This, by definition, is a rabbit hole just waiting to happen.
Yes. So
Pretty much, yeah.
James Bond has a license to kill. Hoopajoobs are a license to rabbit hole.
Okay, that works.
This is going to be a great
Or rabbit.
unifier of an episode, because regardless of politics, regardless of your stances on issues, it has a commonality that we all share, and that is in our enjoyment and this requirement of food, our favorite dishes that we prepare,
We all
our
eat.
talents in making them, and our enjoyment thereof.
I would submit that you are wrong.
And what I'm probably wrong, but in which way?
So, just because there are times I like to be incredibly contrarian, and food is not the great unifier because, for instance, the Imperator here cannot eat mushrooms.
Yes, this is true.
Martin cannot eat dairy. So that right there lets out like 40% of the dishes between the two of them.
Well, who said we were going to invite them for some of these?
Oh, that's a
things?
good point.
The
That's a good point.
unifier is they still eat, and hopefully enjoy the food in which they partake.
And bring a unique and particular perspective because they're working out of those particular things. That
Yeah.
Martin in particular has to be a little more creative, or well, he doesn't have to, but because I mean, you could stick with some very simple plain
Right.
meals.
I mean,
which,
the fortunate thing is I like a lot of essentially straightforward plain meals anyway.
Uh-huh.
I mean, it doesn't mean that I don't miss pizza. I do.
He thinks flour is a spice.
Water is high in Scoville units.
That's right.
yes.
So, and the thing I miss the most is gravy.
Yeah.
I have to figure out how to make some gravy
I was
with,
going to say,
with
isn't that
almond milk.
possible without?
Oh, indeed it is.
I mean, yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, I just have not done it. And of
it's
course, you
hard.
can't go in a restaurant and get it.
You can't get milk
Right.
gravy, but you can do brown gravies.
Well, no, that's still going to have a little bit of milk, I think, isn't it? I mean, depending how you do
a
it.
lot of them.
Chicken stock
will
and
have butter.
cornstarch.
Yeah.
you
Well,
know.
butter's still going to be
Right.
the
So
issue,
that's
yeah.
why most gravies I get, but in particular, I miss sausage gravy.
Now,
Yes.
Oh, well, that's a guarantee.
Biscuits and
if
gravy. I
you're
mean,
restricted from dairy, you're just out of luck.
And then
Yeah.
most of your other gravies are made with a roux, which is nothing but cooked flour and with butter.
Yeah.
You can also make
Um,
gravies with slurries from cornstarch. It's
Yeah.
just a cold application.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right. So, but that's I can't go any place and get biscuit and gravy breakfast, which I
Right.
really miss.
No,
You
no.
could, but it would be bad.
It
No,
would be very
one
bad.
time I was in Chicago and I ordered biscuits and gravy, and the waitress looked at me like I had a third eye growing out of my forehead.
Oh,
And
no.
she brought
Yeah.
me little hard tack biscuits with brown gravy on it. It was the worst breakfast I have ever had.
Oh yeah. No, that biscuits and sausage gravy and real biscuits is a very southern thing,
Mm-hmm.
Right.
and so
That's why it's so great that Waffle House is almost everywhere because you can go there and you can get a good breakfast
Yeah.
no matter where you are.
Only East Coast.
They're west of the Mississippi. There may not be a lot of them.
There's
but-
not a lot of them. I mean, I've
Didn't know that. I
Really
always
seen-
thought that was a
Yeah, it's-
universal.
no, that's a this side of the thing.
Oh.
That's like you country ham.
Otterites in the West, go ahead and open a
you talk-
franchise.
You talk country ham outside of the South and
Yeah.
East.
Oh, absolutely. They don't. They don't.
They
care.
have,
know what
people
that
have
is.
no idea what
Yeah.
you're talking about.
That's
I
right.
don't know what that is.
Do they have any west of the Mississippi at all? I can't.
I was
think
to say,
I've ever
Robert is
seen
now
one.
doing his research over
Yes.
here.
So
They do?
while Robert is looking that up, I'm going to explain a little bit how we ended up here, with me leading the ship on this one. The topic, I believe, was brought up by Cajun
Possibly.
Originally.
And I think it was. I
No,
really think
Martin
it was
brought
Martin.
the idea, and he used Cajun as a model.
Oh, okay.
And Cajun's not here, by the way. We should mention
But he's
that.
an
Yeah,
excellent cook and host.
Yeah.
Puts Martha Stewart to shame.
He,
Well, he's had culinary training. He's gone through. He went through Sullivan
I didn't
Culinary
know
School.
that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Years ago. So there's a reason that natural talent obviously has something to do with it.
Cajun's a Renaissance man. He's been training in many things, and now he's a gentleman farmer. And
That's correct. That's right.
Yeah.
but anyway, I heard this topic as I joined the Brotherhood, and my love of cooking grew out of necessity. And in early 1990, I left the University of Louisville, where I was living at home and attending, and I moved with my best friend, Deacon Kevin Knight, now Deacon Kevin Knight, to Western Kentucky University. And I grew hungry, and I was amazed that no one brought me food or prepared food for me.
What an awakening of adulting you had. Yes.
So, out of necessity, I started gradually attending the cafeteria and discovered that food was very institutionalized and not very palatable.
You're so kind. Yes.
And so, out of necessity, I learned how to use the kitchen in our dorm, and I learned to cook. And it was very rudimentary. And as I graduated college and became married, my beautiful wife has many, many talents, and her talents extend far afield, but cooking is not one of them. I jokingly tell her that she could burn water, and her culinary skills are lacking. So the cooking fell to me, and I discovered this show on the Cooking Network with Chef Alton Brown called
yeah.
Good
Yes.
Eats.
Yeah.
oh yeah,
Yes,
we,
yes.
we were
I watched
fans.
Good Eats
And
for
a lot of
years.
90% of my cooking skills, talents were developed from learning how to cook by watching Chef Alton Brown and Good Eats.
He's
Very
very
good.
much about a technique, the techniques to do things the right way.
The why behind
and come out with those the right results, because the techniques vary by the composition of the ingredients.
yes, indeed, and he not only explains you do this, but you do this because,
Yeah.
Yes.
and he gives you the science behind it. And anyone interested in learning to cook, I would encourage you to download Discovery Plus. All of the back episodes of Good Eats are available there.
His first cookbook is a big, thick one. It's about 1.5 inches thick, and it is nothing but on the proper application of heat for what you're cooking.
Oh, it
That
matters.
is important.
And
It's
it
huge.
is.
It matters
It's not a
big time.
cookbook that you just pick a recipe out of. It's one that you actually sit down and read cover to
Oh,
cover.
okay.
And absolutely wonderful. That's where I learned how to make hard-boiled eggs by not boiling them. The best way to
Indeed.
do that apparently is you put them on a rack in the oven.
You steam them.
Yeah, I've heard that.
No,
yeah.
you put
Interesting.
them in a rack in the oven because you can get the consistent temperature, get it exact. You have an exact
And
time
it's
frame,
even.
and it's even because the airflow all around it. Apparently, found out that water boils different temperatures, different altitudes,
It does.
Absolutely.
Different
Right.
altitudes and different chemical
different
composition of the water.
Yeah, for what's in your water. But a very, very excellent book that I'd highly recommend to anybody. And yeah, he's an excellent chef. I think
So, Brother Andre, what are some of your favorite things then to prepare?
If
That's
I
right. We want listeners' mouths to water as we go through this.
in preparation, I made a full day's menu of the perfect meals.
Oh, look at this,
Preparation, holy shit.
man. He is
Good
the
Lord.
anti-Robert.
Yes.
He's kind of, I'm willing to cede so much of our leadership of the Brotherhood from, the brackets officials in brackets to somebody who's
somebody's
prepared.
got his shit together.
I know.
Now, granted, my preparation started
fix
15
that.
minutes
Yeah.
before we hit record,
Okay.
but there was preparation. So our morning would start
I usually
with,
do mine in the middle of the recording.
Come on,
so-
you're like breaking up our groove here, dude.
Yeah.
hey, I'm not
Dude,
gonna
you're
yuck
harshing
your
my
yum.
mellow.
Bring it on. Bring it on.
Okay, so we start our day with eggs Benedict. Now, I would love to tell you that I make a hollandaise sauce from scratch, but my culinary skills have not delved into that. I
Okay.
do use a prepared sauce mix,
That's okay.
and
All right.
and I've never had complaints. But
Learning how to do that is a cooking skill.
So
Yeah.
I've never had eggs Benedict. I've heard of it. I've heard all like the hollandaise sauce. So explain the eggs Benedict.
Eggs Benedict, you start with, and traditionally an English muffin toasted, Canadian.
I'm there with you. Love my English muffins.
Canadian ham or Canadian bacon, which
is ham.
Which is an
Ham.
abomination.
Well, if you just call it ham, it's okay.
Yeah, if you call it ham, it's okay.
a
Calling it
perfectly
bacon.
poached egg.
Uh-huh.
Yes,
Which it
poached
has
egg.
enough consistency to hold together, but once it's pierced, the yolk oozes out,
Uh-huh.
and then topped with a hollandaise sauce.
Okay, it's the poaching of the egg. It sounds like that makes it what it is. That and the
No.
hollandaise sauce.
Well,
Hollandaise
and
sauce.
that's the real skill too. Is
Yeah,
poaching
poaching's
eggs
a
are
hard
not
thing.
Yeah.
easy.
So how do you poach an egg? I've never poached an egg.
Again,
I mean, I've stolen one maybe, but I've never poached
I
one.
would encourage you to look at Chef Alton Brown's man's.
Yeah, I don't have
breakfast.
that kind of time.
Yeah.
How do you poach an egg?
Okay, it's about 7 minutes. You start with water. You add white vinegar,
vinegar.
to it. That holds the albumin together, the white part of the egg. You crack an egg into. I usually use small glass ramekins to hold the egg in a small.
Oh yeah, we've got
Yes,
those. Yeah.
yes.
And then
Because you want the little round.
you want the egg to be contained and not to spread
Right.
all over your pot. And then I believe it's 7 minutes that you poach the egg, and then use a spider to withdraw it, and you place it. You can actually put it in an ice bath and maintain it up to a day, so you can pre-poach your eggs, but you do want to pre-warm them before serving them, and then you top it with a hollandaise sauce, and you present it to your guests. Now your English muffins should be toasted and warm. Your ham should be crispy, and the egg should be creamy, and then the sauce creamy as well. And you have wonderful flavors, and then you also have a wonderful combination of textures as you take each bite.
Do you have a recommendation regarding the English muffins, perhaps?
I believe there's
Thomas's
very
probably.
yeah. I say there's very
Thomas.
few brands available in the
Yeah.
U.S.
Thomas's
again,
English muffins are
Thomas.
usually the ones that we've
Yeah.
used, and they're very good. Yeah.
If you follow Chef Brown's technique, you make your own English muffins. It's not that difficult, but I've never.
Yeah, that ain't happening.
Yeah, I use the pre-made ones.
That's interesting. So, yeah, it seems like and what goes into the hollandaise sauce? Because again, I want to make sure everybody understands that all of our listeners here.
If you make it from scratch, it is egg yolks, it is lemon, it's cayenne pepper, and there's another ingredient that is failing me, but butter. Yeah,
Butter,
Butter,
yeah, because it's a creamy.
yeah.
It is
So
creamy,
it
sure.
almost sounds like mayonnaise.
Not
no,
Well, that
no,
no oil though.
no oil. I believe that.
Not that I was going to put mayonnaise on my egg. Don't think I was
I
gonna do
believe that you would probably refer to it as disgusting.
Well,
I do.
I mean, I don't like runny stuff.
Yeah,
so
I'm not.
now
big
in
on-
my eggs, normally the only thing I like runny is the yolk.
Yeah.
The white part, no. It's like it took years to get Mrs. Robert to understand that eggs, especially scrambled eggs, because those every bit of it has to be done.
Yeah.
Must be completely
It
cooked.
Must
Must
be
be scrambled.
Yes, has to be all the way done. And if you're especially now if you're going to fry an egg though, the white cannot be runny. It has got to be
Totally
cooked
fair.
all the way
yeah,
through.
I like my eggs done all the way through. So
I'm going to guess
Over
that
hard.
we've got a large group here that don't do oysters.
Nope.
Nope.
I do love them now. There was a time I hated them, but when we started going to Destin just a few years ago, the Boathouse
Yeah.
is a fantastic place where you can get your oysters called action oysters on the half shell with jalapeno and bacon and cheese and all sorts of stuff. That and a Bloody Mary, I've got it. If it's fresh, if it's right, if you're getting it on the coast, it's good. I've never ordered them elsewhere. I don't think I would.
it's not rockets.
No, it's good stuff.
What was that?
Snot rockets.
Not rockets.
No. These are cooked. They're on the half shell. They're not raw.
No, they're not.
On the half shell, it's
Well,
not
they're-
cooked.
On the half shell, they're raw.
Yeah, well, they're
it's a raw oyster.
steamed. They're done the thing there. Whatever it is, it's good.
Anyway,
Steamed is just about the same as raw.
Okay, whatever.
Oh, no.
Anyway,
I
being
can't- I
from the
can't do
south, I'll
shellfish
pass
anymore.
on eggs Benedict.
Yeah, see, I can't do shellfish
Well,
because of the gout.
Yeah, I can't do it.
The next time that we're at Studio A, I will make eggs Benedict for our morning
Sounds good.
repertoire.
Okay.
And,
long as they're
and
completely
then I'll have
cooked, Robert,
something
be
else.
fine.
For
Yes,
you.
I'll
Yeah.
I'll just take some sausage and some fried eggs
Okay.
over hard, and a biscuit or something.
Yeah.
Now I tell you, I do love me a fried egg
Yeah.
on my burger.
They're good. They're good.
It's
a fried
become a
egg
thing
on a burger.
lately. A
Yeah,
lot of
yeah.
places
Big
are
on that.
offering that. The breakfast burger,
they
they're
do
calling
that.
it.
Yeah.
A lot of
Sidebar.
places
on
that
top
are very
there.
popular.
Weekend
not
Burger right
done it,
around the
but-
corner from the house. We've been there, the three
Yeah,
of
we've been
us.
there. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
right.
They do one, and it is phenomenal.
Muscles
Yeah.
and Burger Bar has a really good one called the Farm Burger, and it's they're very good at what they do.
Sidebar at
Her
Whiskey
Majesty's
Row
ordered it. I have not.
theirs is really good. It's right by Yum Center.
Repeat the
Sidebar
name?
Whiskey. Sidebar at Whiskey Row.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
So
Doc
sec-
Rose is there, and the
So if
new,
you go
yeah.
down Second Street just a tiny bit, it's kind of behind where it used to be. I think Beer Nose.
well,
Yeah.
Berno's is right there on the corner.
No, it's
not
not.
anymore.
No, it's not.
I was
Beer
about to
Nose is
explain.
gone now.
It where it was is now going to be the Log Still
Yes.
Mhm.
Distillery
Log-
restaurant.
Distillery
Yeah.
Yes.
restaurant, which is
Yes.
not open yet, but almost.
Yeah.
So
think.
yes.
Getting
So
there.
we'll have
Cannot
to go.
wait
We'll
to
have
go
to go
there.
because yeah,
Yes,
Dan
we will
family
go
and
there.
support New Haven and
It's correct.
Oh, and
Yes.
that Monk's Road. Oh my gosh, you can.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
yeah.
good.
So
One of our favorite bourbons. Yes.
So if you go down the street from that corner, that's where Sidebar is.
Mhm.
Right. So it's there's the troll.
Yes, on the way to the troll.
Yeah,
The
it's
Troll Pub,
right
yes.
before the troll.
The Troll Pub is an excellent
Yeah.
place to
Under
eat.
the
I've not been
bridge.
there. I've been by it, but I've never eaten it.
We go there when we go to Bats games.
Oh, yeah.
The Raps and us. We will go there for
Mhm.
dinner before or after, depending on how
Yep.
we're doing.
Yep.
Mhm.
Although often we'll also go to Rubby's.
Right,
around
yeah,
the corner
yeah.
from the house.
So all right, so that was a
Well,
disgusting breakfast.
Okay. Well,
So
before,
let's move on to
before-
lunch.
Before we move on to lunch, what are the Brotherhood's favorite breakfast do you enjoy?
That's a
Can
great
I
question.
say Francis's? Because I know his
Go ahead.
steak and eggs.
Absolutely. That's always been one of my favorites when
Define
you,
the
when you can
eggs.
get that. Yeah. Medium. I'm not. I'll take them hard. I
Yeah,
don't want them completely hard. I want them partially hard.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Sunny
I'm
side
not. I
up?
don't like them too runny.
He wants his eggs kind of chubby.
Yeah, that's basically it. Yeah, that and I tell you, Waffle House does a great job with it, and IHOP does a great job with it.
Yeah.
Their T-bone steaks, they're not, they're cheap cuts, but they're fantastic. Throw some A1 to it, some hash browns, you got you a breakfast.
And how do you like the steak prepared?
Oh, medium rare,
Okay.
close to.
Do not start that up.
Asked a question, I answered it.
He did.
Woo!
I'm
That's
just
a can
saying.
of
I know that
worms.
you like yours burnt.
Do not start.
Yeah,
I'm telling you, you do not want to go down that road. You do not. I'm just saying.
This
Understood.
was like a 3-week argument on the blog.
yeah.
But it was one of the best 3 weeks on the blog we ever had.
Depends on one's perspective.
Francis had to grovel.
So
Had to grovel.
Well, he didn't have to, but he
didn't have
did.
to.
He
Yeah.
just continued
But
the
he did.
bit. I mean, that was just awesome.
He certainly didn't have to, but he did.
Yes, but yeah,
So
yes,
Martin?
you did a great job continuing the
Okay,
bit.
so
Your
Francis, we
breakfast?
have steak and eggs.
I like very old school, just the some bread, toast or biscuit, bacon and potatoes.
Yes, potatoes
do
are a
like-
must.
Yeah, hash browns are my favorite of
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
So First Watch does really awesome skillet potatoes with their traditional breakfast.
Mhm.
A little onion to them, just a little.
Yeah.
Really good.
Did a
Get
good job.
eggs over hard, a little sourdough toast, and some really really good bacon that they have. It's
Mhm.
First Watch is really good.
Sounds like a wonderful winter.
Imperator.
Uh, country ham,
Oh yeah,
Love it.
Oh,
Absolutely.
which
country
which
ham.
which I take so far is I've got a specific cast iron skillet with a weight that fits it perfectly.
Oh yeah. So you're
The-
frying it. Yeah.
I'm frying it,
That's good stuff.
and
'Cause you can have it just straight out.
You
if
can
wanted
have it.
to.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
can
it's-
cut
I
it
mean,
right off and eat
just
it.
like a
but
sandwich,
no,
yeah.
I like
So
it
you-
fried. I like it well done,
Yeah.
so to speak.
If you have, especially if you have a
Uh,
press to go on it. to keep it
Yes,
from
I
curling.
do, and
Yes.
mine fits.
You want to char the
exactly-
meat, so to speak.
Right. yeah.
My skillet is a square skillet. That's
Yeah.
I use a Le Creuset weight that fits it perfectly.
Okay.
Fits
you
the
preheat
pan
the weight?
entirely, huh?
Do you preheat the weight?
Yes.
Okay, so you're cooking from
Yeah,
both sides.
it's actually a panini press weight
Okay.
from Le Creuset. But I use that because it covers the pan perfectly end to end. And it will fit one piece of country ham at a diagonal across that just perfectly. Yeah, and then I like an egg over medium or fried with scrambled with cheese.
Yeah.
It's pretty
And,
good, yeah.
Cheese and eggs are meant to go together.
and white toast and
You
if-
racist? What's wrong with the brown
yeah,
toast?
exactly.
God, don't
Actually, I
start.
can't have the fiber anymore.
That's a good point. Yeah.
And then I also like, if my wife's cooking, her biscuits and gravy from scratch are with the sausage gravy, absolutely impeccable.
Yep.
She can do a few things good from scratch. She makes an excellent fettuccine Alfredo, her biscuits and gravy, and her fried chicken, or her fried chicken's without pale. That's about the limit of her
Chicken and
her
waffles.
stuff. But
Chicken and waffles is a good thing.
I've never gotten the hang of that.
We did that. I don't think we were recording back then, although it may have been one of the earliest recordings we did chicken and waffles.
Yeah.
We tried, yeah.
Yeah,
Tried.
I think
Didn't
it might have been
quite have the
very early.
knack of it, but yeah, I think we
Yeah.
tried it.
Well, didn't
Yeah.
we get it over at Biscuit Belly? Didn't somebody get some of that there? Back when it was
Possibly,
open.
possibly.
I wanna say
Possibly,
so.
I
yeah.
don't know that they. I don't think they.
No, they do. They have
do
a chicken-
waffles?
And you know, and I remember because I did.
pretty
I was the
sure,
one that
yeah.
got it. That's
Okay.
right. I ordered it one time over there because I couldn't eat it all. That's the
That
moment
was,
when they,
oh my God, yes,
that's
that was
when they
the-
asked, would you like some more
No,
gravy
that
over
was-
this?
was-
No,
those
that
were
was the hot
biscuits.
brown, wasn't it?
No, it was the chicken and waffles. But I have gotten the hot brown
No.
several times too.
I'm pretty sure it was their version of the hot brown, wasn't it?
I think so.
Perhaps.
is what
There's no
happens.
gravy
I
on
think you're
chicken and waffles.
Oh, you most certainly can put gravy on
You
chicken.
can
and
You
put
waffles.
can
gravy
put
on
gravy on anything, but I mean, generally speaking, though, you don't think of
far as
gravy
who
on chicken
does.
and waffles.
Yeah. You didn't have chicken. You had some kind of biscuit hot brown.
I have had that. Yeah, I've had that
with
several
the
times
gravy,
too. But I've
and
had
that's
both.
The
Yes.
nice lady, would you like more gravy with that? And of course, the answer is always yes.
Yes, just the. I wish we were doing video of these so that we could
Yeah.
show the expression on.
All three of our faces.
Yeah.
Well, especially yours, because both of us, Martin and I, we just look at Francis, and his head just kind of slowly pops up, and his eyes go wide. like,
Yeah.
You mean that's an option?
Yes, please.
Yes, please.
Yes, he
It's
was
like-
very.
it's like-
He was
it's-
very
it's like
Oliver.
a surprise turtle.
Yes.
Okay, so
Breakfast for Robert.
breakfast
Yes.
for Robert. I have a hard time coming up with just a single breakfast.
Yeah.
Because even though I don't eat breakfast every day,
It's your favorite meal, you've often said.
but when it comes to having it, oh my gosh, I like a big breakfast. Not because if I'm going to do it, that's the first meal I'm going to eat, and probably the last thing I'm going to eat until dinner.
Yeah.
And generally, I like my eggs scrambled. That's
Mm-hmm.
partially for a couple of. One is to make sure that there's no runny parts. It's kind of
Mhm.
self defense there. But also, I like to kind of make a really mixed up omelet. I don't have the patience to just fold the eggs properly and all that, so I'll just do it up as almost like a stir fry, whether
Scrambled.
it's like ham or. Well, yeah, I mean that's.
Okay.
yeah,
So
yeah.
basically the omelet ingredients into scrambled eggs.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Which, not a thing wrong with that.
yeah.
Not a
No.
thing.
Maybe a little bit of very light shredded cheese, as long as it is a quality cheese, because longtime listeners know my beef with cheese. American cheese products.
Are you cheese with cheese?
That kind of cheese cheeses me off. you
Yeah,
know?
I understand.
Um,
It's the cheese food products that really get your goat.
it does. It does.
Americans don't do cheese or chocolate very well compared to our European brothers.
Exactly. So, like Martin, I got to have my hash browns. Hash browns or skillet potatoes. The skillet potatoes I'm not as big on because I don't like the skin left on them as much.
Oh no, I do.
Yeah, but that's just me.
Yeah.
Not that I won't. Not that I'll turn
right.
it down.
Now, and I don't eat a huge breakfast like that very often, actually.
Right. Because I mean that's hard to do. I
Yeah.
mean you can't do that almost.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
hard to do every day.
I mean, I hardly eat any breakfast at all during the week. I mean,
Right.
Something microwave
Oh no.
biscuit,
Yeah.
and or the little breakfast crackers is very common.
Yeah.
For me.
No, my wife brings me breakfast in bed every
yeah,
morning.
yeah, whatever.
Yeah. Okay.
So beyond that, go back and forth between biscuits and toast because again, you guys know bread is a little bit difficult for me to do. I like sausage, I like bacon, I like ham, all of them.
Oh,
Matter of
yeah.
fact, I'm not opposed to having all three at the same breakfast. I mean,
See that? Yeah.
I mean, that's a good American breakfast. You have sausage and bacon
exactly,
and 2 pistols and a big thing of coffee. And
exactly.
As a
So-
matter of fact,
we didn't
Robert
even
would
address
eat-
the coffee
Robert
issue
would
yet.
eat the yoink if he could.
Pretty much, yeah.
Well, it sounds like all of us have a.
I'm not done.
Oh, I'm
No,
very
no,
sorry.
no,
I'm
no.
not
He's
done.
just starting.
I'm just starting. Yes.
Course 2.
So these are all the different things that go into a breakfast for me. That's why I say I have a hard time choosing just one. I love corned beef hash with my breakfast.
I have never had that.
Oh my gosh, you're missing out. A corned beef hash mixed in with my eggs to scramble it together. Oh my gosh, that's great to me. One of the things I have really come to love, and this is because of going to Waffle House, is I my big thing there is I'll get the big platter of hash browns and get the ham on it, but they also will do gravy and they cover it with.
That's called country.
Yeah, not everybody knows that though.
I'm educating.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, I know that, but again,
so
we have European.
are you sure you're from Michigan?
yeah, well, no. Remember, my parents are from Eastern
He's-
Kentucky.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
yeah.
So I grew up eating Southern.
yeah.
Okay. All right, you get a pass.
Well, yeah. Believe me, my roots are more Southern than because even his roots come from start out in Maryland. In
True.
the north. Mine come from start out in North Carolina.
North Carolina.
So,
Yeah.
but anyways, scrambled eggs, hash browns, my sausage, all that mixed together is great. But especially cover it with gravy. I love that. Covered my breakfast with good gravy, especially sausage gravy, because it gives a little bit more flavor.
And I like a lot of pepper in my sausage
Yes,
gravy.
yes.
Plain sauce. Yeah, it's like no, it's got to have some pepper.
Yes, because salt doesn't do as much for it.
We
Salt,
get some pepper in there to give it some.
We could compose a love sonnet to gravy. It sounds like.
yes, we could.
Yes.
Well, yeah, but I mean, you should see the way his eyes slightly
Light up.
close when he's saying this, and his head rolls back.
I'm telling you, it's.
passionately
I love breakfast.
good.
Oh,
I
and
do.
I did notice one consensus between us all. There's not a vegetable to be seen among any of us. So any cardiologist interested in
Potatoes.
sponsoring us,
Potatoes.
you can reach
Potatoes.
us at 1-800-FLATLINE.
Now, one of
There
the things
A
that
lot of pork products.
I
in here.
made for my boys for a long time, and we call it eggage. And we fry up a pound of sausage, scramble up 12 eggs. As we're frying the pound of sausage, we'll cut it all up, break it all up, pour the eggs over it, throw in green peppers, onions, whatever, and just let it, until the scrambled eggs get
Right, that's
firm.
that's
Yeah,
essentially what I was
exactly.
talking about. Yeah,
Yeah,
You-
we
you
always called it eggage.
You cook.
No,
the
that's
meat
a great term.
You cook the meat first.
Yeah,
Yes.
cook the
and
meat.
then you cook the eggs
Yeah.
in the drippings.
Well, you got to drain the meat because otherwise you'll
Yes.
end up with a slimy egg.
Mess.
But you do use
drain
the
the meat.
sausage seasoning.
Yeah, and
as
then
the
put them right
seasoning
back
for it.
in the pan
Yeah,
with
same
the eggs.
pan.
Well, that's right. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So-
But drain it. Yeah, drain it out first, but then
Drain-
put it
drain
all
the
right
oil-
back.
the
Bring
grease
in
out.
oily eggs.
I don't drain it. You just got to work through it.
Yeah, well,
Dude, how are you still alive?
yeah,
Oh,
I
yes.
drain.
I mean,
it.
your arteries have got to have like tiny microscopic.
Cholesterol and
Yeah.
all that's good.
he'll
I
have he'll have a heart attack before the rest of
Don't
us.
say that.
Yeah, don't say that. It's probably true, but don't say that.
Okay, well,
All right.
Okay, so
lunch?
so we had breakfast well covered.
uh-huh.
Now moving on to lunch, it's a little bit simpler, but it's just a sandwich and a side, a Cuban sandwich with
boy.
fried
That's good. That's good.
plantain
Boy, yeah.
chips.
Yeah.
Now I have made my own Cuban sandwiches, which is
Mhm.
for those of you that aren't familiar with it. It's just ham, cheese with pickles in a panini form.
Mhm.
And
Sometimes more meat than just ham, though.
No.
Yeah, it should be pulled pork, ham, and usually cheese, mustard, and pickles.
Yeah.
That's
and then,
correct.
And then you've got to use something to crush it.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's
Panini
a very
and-
flat
That's
sandwich.
why I don't like it because it's got mustard and pickles. So we're about the only two things that
What
I don't
was
like.
the place we used to go to downtown when the three of us were all relatively
City
close down?
Cafe?
City Cafe.
I
That's
love
it,
that
yes.
place. Yeah,
They had a great Cuban there.
I never ate one of those. We had a lot of great stuff.
Yeah,
down
they
there, but-
didn't have. I don't think they had a Cuban. We went.
Yeah, no, there
we
were.
went somewhere they did though.
It was just down the street on Broadway from the Courier building, on the other side of the Courier from
Yeah,
where you're.
that's City
That's
Cafe.
City.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
it. Oh, okay.
Yeah, we had
I don't
Cubans
remember.
there.
You know, and I think remember because Cuban was what they always had.
Oh, he made them every once in a while. I think then.
I thought
'Cause
they
he
always.
had a
thought he always
special.
had
I thought those were the ones on the
No,
regular
that would have
menu.
been a production for them to make. Yeah.
But I remember we had it several times there.
Yeah, we usually went with their special, whatever it was.
trying to remember who had. Oh, Beef O'Brady's.
They have.
One time had a really good Cuban. Now I don't know if
That
it's
just
still
sounds wrong.
It's become a thing and branched out. The best Cuban you'll get in the city is at Havana Rumba, which is a
Yes,
Cuban restaurant.
actual Cuban
That's-
restaurant,
They
yeah.
make
That is a
it the
great
way it's
restaurant.
traditional.
Yeah.
That and a
But I mean, a
mojito.
place called Beef O'Brady should not be making. You want to talk about cultural appropriation?
It was good though. It was good.
Oh
But
yeah,
yes,
I'm sure it was.
But
I'm sure it
unlike
was.
Francis, though, I like mustard
yes,
and a good pickle is good stuff.
I like my pickles on the side.
So, but that the press part of the Cuban then makes that bread nice and crunchy and chewy. That's awesome.
And it offsets the texture of the pickle, which some people find offsetting.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. But that combination of that pulled pork and that good kind of Cuban European style ham is it's good.
Has anybody ever enjoyed plantain chips?
No.
I do eat when you go to Havana Rumba. That's what you usually get with it.
Yeah.
It's the plantain stuff. I'll get that and the black beans and rice too. And that's excellent. I would never try to buy them. I don't know why. I just never thought about it. I've seen them out there though. You can buy
You
them.
can get
Yeah, you
those.
can buy 'em.
But they're good. They're good,
I
especially
have
the
to
fresh
go with
ones.
you to Havana Rumba sometime. I've never been, so I would.
Oh,
I know
really?
I would like it.
Oh, you will?
Oh,
Oh,
yeah,
absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Good
there's two of them. One that's out in Middletown, which
yeah.
is the larger one.
Yeah.
The better one is probably the one down in the Douglas Loop,
Mhm.
which is not just straight down there.
Really, there's
the
one in the
corner.
Douglas Loop.
There is. Yeah. It's
Yeah.
I don't get down there that often. Although with the boy starting at having already started at Bellarmine,
As I say, it's a lot easier for you to make that
Yeah,
happen.
we'll
Yeah,
probably do that more often.
Yeah, it's right there in the loops, and it's really nice.
They also had one in, I believe, in New Albany for a while.
Very
That's
possible.
possible, yeah.
Very possible.
Never get over there, so
The restaurateur that started it is expanding quickly with his restaurants.
Good, because they're family owned.
yeah, and that's a great thing. So yeah, because I like this going around. Let's
Right, yeah.
if you don't
Yeah, keep
mind.
going.
No, please. I was
Yeah,
going to encourage, please, and share your lunch.
Well, if
favorites.
you're talking sandwiches, I mean, there's really nothing better than you got three varieties, but white bread for me, I think you all know that's kind of a tradition in our house.
Wonder
You're,
bread.
you're about as white bread as we get.
That's exactly right. That's what I grew up on. I've talked about that.
Wonder
many,
bread.
many times. Sunbeam is cool. You didn't,
Bunny bread.
bunny bread is fine.
bread.
Any
Oh,
of
Bunny bread, yeah.
as long as it's white bread. And I like a good sandwich with that. And I'll go back to the Howard store.
Oh yeah,
Thing
yeah.
with that type of a ham, mayo on the white bread, cheese if you got it. You can do with you can do the shredded lettuce, a tomato, and an onion if you want. I do
It's
that
a very
sometimes.
working class type of sandwich.
It is. I often order
Affordable.
those at Frank's meat market over on Preston because it's just down the street from where we'll go. And to me, and I do this several times.
Oh,
a
that's
week.
right, because it's on the upper end of Preston.
That's right, exactly.
yeah,
just
yeah.
past, just up from Male High School. So, and it's packed. It is absolutely packed. Every working class guy in the freaking city is there every day for lunch. I mean, they'll go through. I overheard them say they go through 100 gallons of chili a day.
Wow.
And
100 gallons.
100 gallons a day, and because everybody's ordering it. That's one thing they have every day, and that's to me that's my favorite lunch is one of those sandwiches. Could be corned beef, could be country ham.
Fried bologna.
When they have it,
I
yes,
love it.
it'll be fried bologna when they have it.
To me, that was always a make it home thing, not an order
Yeah,
out.
But they have it on Wednesdays and Fridays, and if I'm up there, I'll usually get one and a thing of a medium
See,
chili.
now I need to go there with you. 'Cause
Yes,
I've
you do.
I've never been, and that sounds wonderful.
Well, I mean,
love
if
all
if
that.
you want to come to one of these days, because just drive down and meet me at the office,
Mm-hmm.
and we'll go.
oh yeah,
And if you can't eat it there, you got to take it home. But you
Put that on the culinary tour.
I
for
know.
next
and
week.
that's
go
what
back
I-
into my office and sit there. That's where I do it. Sit right at my desk.
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
that is sounding like fun.
It is
I'm
a
gonna have to
very
find some way to do
home
We'll have
style.
to make that a group thing.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. And they have stuff every day. They have pork chops on sandwiches on Tuesdays,
pork chop sandwiches.
sloppy joes on Monday. They have certain things that rotate.
Oh yeah.
They have chili every day. You can get any deli sandwich, any freshly made the way you want it, whatever you like it. I don't know how they do it. They've got like 12 people behind the counter, but they got it down, and so they never make mistakes.
Yeah.
And,
Well,
but
you
I'm
know, Old Delaney's in Barstown, I think, is starting to do some sandwiches.
Yeah, this is like Old Delaney's on steroids because, like I said, there's hundreds.
Oh, yeah.
There's probably 1,000 people.
this
What
is
was the place across from the Sherwood that did?
That's Paul Howard's.
Paul Howard's. Okay.
Yeah, that's where we're talking about the Howard's Ham.
Yes.
They're now Big Blue. They're now a tavern, but they were a general store when I was growing up.
right.
And
the
that's
one.
where that sandwich all around Nelson County. That's what you would do. You would get that
Right.
Howard
It's
sandwich.
a store, yeah.
That's
yeah.
right.
Mhm.
And it's
And he
very-
forgot to mention that he's related to the Howards.
Actually, no, but I went to school with their grandson.
I thought you had Howards in your family.
Way,
It's
way,
not-
way back. So far
then
back
you're
I went-
related.
You're related.
In New Haven, that's close enough.
That's close enough. Yeah, there's way back.
And what was the name of the place on Preston again?
Oh, Frank's.
Frank's. Okay.
Frank's
That's
Market.
what I thought you said. Yeah,
Mhm.
Frank's
That's right. Well,
Market.
just call me and we'll go.
Okay, well, I have to figure that out.
So you guys are both sandwich guys for lunch then.
Sounds like
But with soup with it. I like that. That's why I like the
Yes,
chili in
yes, yes.
particular. They have, they'll have another soup every day. I just don't always get the chili. I like it. They have red beans and rice on Thursday. I will sometimes get that.
I do like red beans and
They
rice.
do a very good job with that.
So
That's my ideal
I'm,
lunch, and I have it just about 3 or 4 times a week.
I am not much of a soup person, so I do gravitate to sandwiches. I do
they
love
have.
a good sandwich.
Grab your bag of chips.
When I travel to Bowling Green, Sam's Lunchbox Cafe
really?
is a block from, or 2 blocks from the office where I'll be working, and they make a pork chop sandwich that I get every time I go. And my dad used to call these breakfast chops. It's the pork chops that are cut really, really thin,
Yes.
so they cook super fast. That's
Oh.
a breakfast
it's a
chop.
sirloin.
Oh, it's like
Yeah, we always call them sandwich chops.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Sandwich
Oh, I was going to say,
sandwich
because Frank's is a little bit thicker.
Sandwich
It's
slice,
probably
yeah.
close to 3/4.
yeah. But so they will give you 2 of those on like a sub bun, mayo, lettuce, tomato, and onion,
Yeah.
and fries. Oh, it's good. I love it. But just generally sandwiches, yes, I love sandwiches all the time. I can make just about anything into a sandwich. So,
Yeah.
and I like to vary the bread. So I will do
And you can get other
wheat
breads.
bread,
Yeah.
sourdough, stuff like that is all good. So,
I like a dark
Love it.
rye or a pumpernickel.
yep, yeah, good rye
Especially as
bread.
bread. Or I mean as toast.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that with real butter, that's a great.
Now you don't do fish, but I do like to have. I'm very old parish Catholic in that way. I do like my
Well, you
rye bread
Catholic,
with my
you don't like
fish
fish.
sandwich.
I do like those. Yeah, I was
He's the most Catholic pagan you'll ever find.
Yeah.
So, what other kind of sandwiches do I really like? Cubans, pork chop sandwiches. Of course, we just had pulled pork. Love those. Brisket. We talked about
So
brisket.
we've done a whole episode on barbecue.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So, those are all wonderful.
All right, so
Um,
sandwiches are up 3-0 here.
Yeah. Well, Oh, a good chicken sandwich.
Yes, you do love your chicken sandwiches.
Oh man,
when
and
we go out, that's
Mhm.
almost always
Bake,
what you order. Yeah.
fry.
Frank's has that, although I've never ordered it.
both. A good chicken breast sandwich that just like a
Grill.
pan fried or grilled, no breading, with the right things on it is very good, and it's not terrible for you.
Look at you being all healthy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Imperator.
If I'm at home, I like a nice simple lunch of usually 2 bologna sandwiches with cheese and Miracle Whip.
Yes, not mayonnaise,
Not
Miracle
mayonnaise,
Yeah,
Whip.
Miracle
there's
Whip.
there is a difference, very
difference.
much so. Yeah.
Yes.
And I will put Lay's potato chips on it.
Oh, yes.
You
Barbecue.
get,
on
your
it.
sandwiches have to crunch, for God's sake.
Yes.
I
Oh,
love
yes.
crunch.
Don't use that
Lay's on a bologna sandwich
Oh, yeah.
is awesome.
It is.
have to
Never
use barbecue
considered
chips.
it.
Oh, it's
I
delicious.
do love my barbecue.
We always have them on the side, mind you. But
no, you put it on the
I-
side of
on
the
the
sandwich
sandwich.
that doesn't have the Miracle Whip.
Exactly, because you don't want them to
You
get
don't want
soggy.
them to get soggy.
Now, do you put
Uh,
tomatoes on the sandwich?
No,
no, that's it.
Oh, you can put.
Even the cheese is
That-
optional.
Yeah, the cheese.
for bologna. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
But and then if I'm going to do a soup at home, usually for something like that, it'll be a ramen.
there you
It's
go.
just an old style. It's more of a college kind of
Right.
Yep.
meal. Now, if I'm out and about, it may be anything from Asian to some Oriental varieties of
Chinese
of
takeout is
Chinese takeout,
that's
or
a
perhaps
awesome lunch.
Nepalese or Indian or just whatever.
Not
I
big on
happen to be-
Indian myself.
be near.
I've never been able to make that work.
Uh,
It just hasn't done
and-
anything for me.
I like the naan, or is it naan?
Non
Naan,
bread.
Yeah, naan,
love
yeah,
naan.
yeah.
That's good bread.
Love a
but
garlic naan.
Yeah.
I mean, I used to do. Penny's was a perfect place for lunches. We
Oh.
We
to
went there many
Penny's
times. That's right.
for
China
many times.
it's almost a national
We
disaster
mourn its
Yes.
passing. Yes.
that it had to close.
And
Damn COVID.
I still cook on her woks that she used in that restaurant, and
She was just
she was a wonderful lady.
she was, all
She
the
still is a wonderful lady, assuming she's alive.
no, she
No,
passed.
she
She
passed
passed
away.
That's
right
why the
over-
restaurant closed.
Yeah, she
Yeah.
passed right. Well, it closed because of COVID. The
Yeah.
kids were going to keep it
They
open,
were going to keep it open,
but when
but
everything
COVID
closed
hit.
down, they couldn't pay the rent on the
Yeah,
place.
reopen. Yeah.
Yeah, she was just such a wonderful lady. I mean,
Mhm.
there was a while there just because of circumstances, where we lived. It was years before, between trips at occasion.
That's kind
And
of
she always remembered me
Yeah.
by name.
yeah.
Mhm.
Well, and China Inn is part of the genesis of this podcast.
It is.
That was
It is.
that was one of the meals that we had where we were sitting there at lunch. We probably took up a table for 2.5 hours in the middle of the
Mhm.
day.
Yep.
And we're like,
Usually on a weekend, so it's,
yeah,
Yeah.
we didn't record a lick of it.
nope.
That's what we were thinking. Man, we should be
Mhm.
recording this shit.
Oh my God, we said that for years. Yeah.
And
But that was one because I
the podcast was born.
I came with a book in mind that I wanted to ask you guys about.
Yes, that was often a
That
thing,
was
and that
kinda-
carried
you
over into
actually-
the early episodes.
Yeah, we had to
yes.
be like prepped for lunch because
Yes.
we would have things to discuss. At
And I didn't prep then either.
So a salute to Penny and China Inn.
Absolutely,
For-
absolutely.
Yeah.
Not just
Definitely.
being awesome,
Yes,
college place to eat. It's we owe it a lot.
absolutely.
Robert, what about your lunch?
So I take a little bit of a different tack on lunch. To me, lunch is the least important and least interesting meal of the day.
Mm-hmm.
Now, partially that's because of I can really only do 2 meals a day comfortably.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Unless I make them very small meals
Yeah.
throughout the day. But like, I work from home, and so, or even when I wasn't working from home, this is what I would take to work.
Yes.
I stock Dinty Moore and Campbell's chicken
Mhm.
noodle soup, and those are usually my go-to. My wife, Mrs. Robert, she's like, "How can you eat the same thing every day?" I was like, "Well, I do like these, but this is not my go-to. Oh, this is the great thing.
it's just something to have on
This
your
is to
stomach
keep me alive.
to keep
Right.
going.
This is
Yeah.
a male thing.
At best, it is fuel.
Mhm.
Like if I don't have breakfast, I definitely have lunch.
I could eat Frank's
Mm-hmm.
chili every day. I could.
Exactly. So often that is most likely going to
Yeah.
be my lunchtime
Yes.
meal.
Mhm.
If we're out of those, I will occasionally make myself a ham sandwich. Usually it's on white or wheat. Definitely Miracle Whip.
Mhm.
And I'll usually grab an extra slice of bread because sometimes it's the heel. Sometimes just grab the extra slice.
Oh, you can't
And
eat
just-
the heel.
Pardon?
You got to throw the heel away.
No.
No.
Oh,
You
and-
say heels are saved and treasured by fathers. That's what you make a dad sandwich with when every other piece is gone.
Exactly. I will slather that with a thick coating of Miracle Whip, fold it over, and eat that first before I have the rest of the actual sandwich.
Yeah, and that is my most common lunch is the classic ham sandwich, and I take microwave stuff to get variety. The microwave. So at work, that's very typical
Yeah.
microwave.
Uh-huh.
Now, it used to be, especially when I was working downtown at Humana, they've got a cafeteria in the basement of the second PNC tower, the one that sits next to the Humana building. We
Mhm.
called it the box that the Humana building came in.
Yeah,
'Cause that's what it
cravings,
looks
right?
The
name of it?
Might have been.
I want
It's
to
been
say
a long
because we
time.
used to meet down there fairly regularly when we all worked downtown.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And they had a great, they would do a great breakfast there. So I probably put on so much weight because I would go down and I would have a breakfast. This is before I had the bariatric surgery.
Mhm.
And I have a big breakfast of, eggs, sausage, the fried potatoes, the whole thing. And then I'd have a big old burger and fries for lunch every day. My cholesterol was probably like 400 during the time I
Yeah.
lived or worked there. but generally, I just can't do that kind of stuff. If I go out for lunch, I might grab a burger. Might, if nobody else is around, I'll go pick up some Chinese from a place around because that's a bigger bit of a meal. And it's like, well, why'd you get Chinese? Where's my Chinese? And it's like, well, you weren't around, so I got my own Chinese.
Mistake one.
Pardon?
If you're speaking about your wife asking where the Chinese is, that was your mistake. Not either letting her know you ordered it or not ordering.
Well, that's why I do it when nobody's around.
Okay.
Yeah.
That you eat in the car.
Exactly. Exactly. So yeah, for me, lunch is almost an afterthought as
Sounds
far
like
as what goes into it. It's just, to me, it's an interruption of my day. It's a necessary interruption. Don't get me wrong, but that's not where I get my culinary enjoyment.
I did notice watching each of you speak about breakfast and lunch, there was much more passion and love in the breakfast segment. That lunch, almost like you said, was a necessary afterthought. And there's some things that we like, but I didn't hear anybody going, "Oh, you got to try this," except for maybe your
Well,
chili.
I think part of that is you can extrapolate lunch into dinner, and you end up eating a lot of the same thing.
Yes.
Whereas breakfast is usually a much different cuisine for most people. They don't
Yes.
eat the same things.
Yeah.
So, lunch kind of save your passion for dinner. Oh, is it time?
Well, yeah.
As we move from lunch into our mid-afternoon cocktail hour, I think it's time to have a bourbon break.
Bourbon break.
So as we're discussing our liquid refreshments here,
I thought you were going to say liquid lunch.
I'm going to sort of just give a quick recap on what I'm drinking. It was the Henry McKenna 10-year-old. I'm nursing the one that we did from the last recording, but it still has a wonderful mouthfeel, a wonderful creaminess and vanilla flavor to it, and definitely would recommend it if you can get it. Francis, why don't you tell us what you're partaking of?
Martin here, after a spectacular lunch, I do want to mention that Martin here.
Hey, that's pretty good bootleg pulled pork.
Bootleg pulled pork barbecue with some homemade Cajun's homemade barbecue sauce on it. You guys had some of the mustard stuff. I just had the traditional.
Boy, that
Well, I
mustard
thought you had.
is
Oh,
killer.
you just took a bottle of the Alba.
Took a bottle of white, but
Okay.
I used the others. So yeah, I've got one of each.
Yeah. I went back and got second, so I could have the mustard on it the second time.
Oh yeah,
That was good stuff.
That the Cajun's mustard style, Carolina style sauce.
You can't beat bootleg. They're one of the great, and you're literally up the street here, and they always do a fantastic job. So I did want to throw that out there, so that way I'm not drinking on an empty stomach, which kind of makes me a little loopy and perhaps talkative.
Never.
How can we tell the difference?
That's what I'm about to say.
The last episode was only like an hour and 45 minutes. So
But no, Martin here convinced me to pull off the Bullet Frontier Whiskey, which we have not. We featured
we've
it.
had it, but
it's been a long time, and
Yeah.
I'm thinking, it's a good way to do that because my palate, I think, is more developed, or at least I can explain it a little bit better. But once again, I've let it bloom really well, so it's very mild. It's only a 90 proof anyway, so there's no bite to it.
It is a high rye mash bill.
But it doesn't come across that way at all. It again, because I've let it bloom. When I took a few tastes right when we put it together, it was a little bit barkier.
Yeah.
But it certainly has a very smooth. You would think the way it's branded that it's meant to be rough and tough and the way they do on the Frontier. It is an elegant bourbon. It really is. I really have. It's not their
Interesting. That is not a word I normally would associate with.
Yeah,
Bullet.
That's right.
a unique
That's what's
take.
surprising me. Again, like I say, I've let it bloom significantly, so it might be the function of that.
Yeah, being super mellowed out
Yeah.
from.
And to be
ice.
fair, I can't remember the last time I had Bullet. So.
It's one of the earliest ones we ever tried. It's my niece's favorite. I usually keep it on hand, but I don't have any right now. So
And Bullet's the one you like. It's the Buffalo Trace that tastes like mouthwash.
For me,
Yes.
Buffalo Trace tastes like toothpaste.
Toothpaste, yes. Okay.
So I'm not a huge fan.
Well, it's a good thing for you then. It was allocated for so long, so you didn't have to worry
I
about.
didn't miss it. Yeah.
Yeah. So although it's not anymore, you can find it
But-
everywhere.
Oddly enough, I do like E.H. Taylor, and maybe that's just a mind game, because I think the mash bills are very similar.
All of the Buffalo Trace stuff they've got a very small number of mash bills, as I understand it.
Yeah.
And there's not a whole lot of variations.
Yeah.
So
So yeah, you go from Buffalo Trace to Blanton's and E.H. Taylor's. There's not supposed to be a ton of difference.
Although
but
the Blantons, we've talked about that before. We had it down at Cajun's last year. The 3 bottles you got.
yeah,
Uh,
it kind of washes out.
Yeah, I was not. I mean, it's fine as I think a sipping whiskey without the. You could do that one neat. You almost have to do it neat.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So,
But E.H. Taylor, I think it's somehow, maybe it's a mind game, a more complex flavor.
see, that's
I
why I
love
like the blind tasting.
I would
we're talking
agree.
about.
And Her Majesty is very much a fan, thanks to Andre over here, of the E.H. Taylor. She's been jonesing to actually get some, but I haven't seen it anywhere. It's hard to find.
Try
Uh,
Tulane
Right up
down,
here?
down the street here.
Really?
Now, you're going to pay markup over retail,
Understand.
but he usually has some. Or go down to Buffalo Trace and
Yeah.
see what day it is.
Yeah, go down to the distillery and you can get it at the gift shop.
It's
We do need to do a Snakes and Otters road trip to a distillery.
Well, yes, yeah. I mean, Buffalo Trace is an easy one. Wild Turkey is an easy one.
Yeah.
Woodford Reserve is an easy.
Bullet
Uh,
is in
the
Shelby
Evan Williams
County.
experience.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Very much so. We got so
Yeah.
many.
Ofo.
I mean,
Yep.
again, once we start down that road, there's tons to go.
Speaking of which, my girls decided that they would do a distillery tour for me again for a Father's Day, and so I'm going to be doing the Jepfa Creed.
Good for you, man.
So I'm looking forward to
Good for you.
doing that one.
Take notes.
They're along 64.
So-
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's one of my favorites. They have I mean,
They
they don't
do.
have a lot of expressions, maybe 4 or 5 of bourbons.
But they're excellent. You know.
They also have vodkas and other stuff. But yeah, they are excellent. That red, white, and blue.
Yeah.
That's the
I bought
bomb.
some of that. Yeah, I really like it. It's upstairs on the shelf.
Yep. Anyways,
So I poured Makers, because
regular makers.
regular Makers.
Yeah, we haven't
Oh.
featured that in a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been a long time.
Ever,
Yeah,
actually.
so-
No, we have.
I was gonna
we
say,
did
you had
have
it
it.
at one point.
Yes.
Yes, that's right.
I had the 46 and I still have the regular.
I'm remembering the
and we
46.
did
I
the
not remember
regular,
The regular, yeah.
Just because
Mhm.
maybe I was the only one that did it. It was just because I got it. We talk about it. We give it a bad, but it's not a bad bourbon.
No, it's excellent. Yeah.
No, I mean, if you really like Rise, it might not be for that because it is sweet.
Mhm.
It does have even almost a touch of like a little bit of a candy flavor, but it's good. I like Makers, and I have a liter bottle somehow, and instead of a 750.
Yeah,
So-
I've got a big one too.
So please,
I mean,
have some.
bottle. Yeah.
Have some.
But yeah, it's one of those things where I think we've given it a bad rap. Partially, that's a response to the nutty. I mean, granted, great for them, the marketing,
Yeah.
but it's not as good as everybody thinks it is outside of Kentucky.
Well, I mean, in this area, it is almost like a family tradition to break open a bottle of Maker's Mark for highballs or what have you. On the
It's
holidays.
Yeah,
mixer.
It's a well-known mixer.
Well,
bourbon,
and
yes.
Yeah.
before the craft bourbon explosion, it
Yeah.
was considered pretty much the high end
Oh,
that
yeah.
you could get around here, and
Mhm.
it
Easily,
was
yeah.
So I mean, back when a $12 bottle of bourbon was a big deal, and this one would be 18 or 20.
Yeah,
You're
yeah,
like, oh,
right.
well, I'm really splurging to get
Oh, yeah.
Maker's Mark. I mean, it's what everybody had in the cabinet.
Mhm.
Yeah. And I think with the new expressions they've been doing the last 10 years or so, they're starting to catch up.
Yeah.
At least that's
Mhm.
my, it may be longer than 10 years. That's just my impression of
Yeah.
it. So don't take that for
Yeah.
as reality. But, with the 46, the 101,
Mhm.
The Maker's 101 shocked me how good it was.
yeah. Well, and now the cask strength that I mentioned,
Mhm.
all of these things. And I think they're getting my attention more and more.
Well, they're not resting on their laurels.
Exactly. Well, I think they did for a long time.
Oh, they did.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Oh,
I think it because it was this, one of the family in the same hands for a really long time,
Yeah, it
unlike other
was.
brands.
And that's the one, if I remember correctly, where the guy in the 40s threw out the family recipe.
Yes, that's the
and
backstory.
started from scratch.
Bill Samuels
Bill
tore up
did.
the family recipe, started a new one, and
And it was supposed to have been a good bourbon to begin with.
yeah, and
Mm-hmm.
he started over, and that's the recipe we use now.
Yeah.
Yep.
And
So it's an interesting story. And
So,
then the wife came
yeah.
up with the dipping in the red wax.
Yep.
Mhm.
So,
and I think part
It's
of
got
the
a great
mystique-
story.
Yeah, part of
Yeah.
the marketing and the mystique is the red wax, and
how many of you guys have been to the distillery?
oh yeah, it's
I've
been
been, yeah.
ages ago.
Oh, wow. Got a nice
Yes.
restaurant there too.
Yeah.
I think I went
yeah, they do.
there on a field trip as a school kid.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Only in Kentucky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
Well,
I have the little empty bottles that they would give give away on the field trips
Yeah,
in the red wax, but it's a little empty little 375 bottle,
yeah.
and they
We went at Christmas, me and the girls, several years ago, and they do a phenomenal Christmas thing there.
yeah.
Oh my gosh, I highly recommend going for Christmas.
It's almost like a little village that they have.
Yes,
down there.
it's almost almost like a little German village.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So what did I pour you again, Robert?
I did the Henry McKenna.
Mhm.
After hearing you guys talk about it, I thought, I got to have me some of this.
Yes, that's right, because you were the only one that hadn't tried some then.
Yes.
Yes.
And another one with a great nose.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Does-
Maybe not quite as good as that 1910 on the nose.
No.
But so many bourbons, the nose is so full of ethanol
Yeah.
that it's hard to get something out of it. That's not the case here. Yes, you still have that, but you can get those flavors coming through. And that caramel and vanilla and that first taste really shines. It really does. Now there is a little bit of a peppery taste. Now it could also be left over from the earlier bourbons. It's hard to say, but it's got a great kiss, a little bit of a hug. But oh my gosh, it's a great creamy flavor.
Mhm.
Velvety creamy.
It is. It's got the velvety cream. I'll tell you what it's the scent
smell?
on it. I already
Okay.
I'm good. It's buttery.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Another-
it's
another good
got a
descriptor.
buttery
Butter-
creaminess.
Buttercream
Yeah.
kind of
Uh,
sort of like a butter pecan ice cream almost or something.
Mhm.
It's
yeah.
Now, that's an interesting way of putting it.
Yeah.
I hadn't have considered that.
I'm so glad that you guys all got to try that one.
Mhm.
I don't.
On the
This is
show.
the one Cajun said he thought he had a lemon.
A lemon.
Yeah,
oh,
that's
right.
right.
How you
I'm
do
not-
the lemon at
picking
the
it up.
end.
Yeah.
I'm not picking that
you
up.
won't get the lemon until you let your palate sit for a little while, and you breathe through your mouth, and you feel like a light freshness on your palate.
I mean, I can feel that.
Mhm.
That light. I don't know. I call it light freshness, but what I think you're describing, I'm just not getting a lemon taste out of it.
I didn't get any
Um,
lemon scent out
yeah.
of it.
Like
Which
maybe like a
taste
little-
and scent don't always go
No,
together.
they don't.
Yeah.
They should.
Kinda
My
like
God,
a-
they should, but they
Yeah.
don't.
They don't.
a lemon tart almost to it because of that creaminess.
I could
like
almost
a lemon,
see that.
like
Yeah,
a lemon
that I could-
icing almost. Yeah.
Eh,
Buttercream.
Yeah.
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 Well, as we move our culinary traditions from liquid back to solid, let's talk about dinner here for a moment.
Oh yes,
Oh, yes.
the
Dinner. That's after breakfast. That's my second favorite meal.
It should be the preeminent. It should be the most impressive. It should be the one that. It's where we come
Yeah,
together.
but life is life. You got to hustle through. There's things to get done.
And that's and nutritionally speaking, dinner should not be.
No.
It should be like how I approach
Lunch.
lunch.
Should be
It should be
Yeah.
a light
It's-
meal. At
it's
the
some
end of the day.
societies are like that, where
Yes.
the last meal is a very light one, and the first two are
Mhm.
very.
The proper
heavy.
way of eating, I've always heard described, is you breakfast like a king, you lunch like a prince, and you dinner like a pauper. And
And then
yeah.
American,
we
Yeah,
reverse
we've-
that.
we've
yeah,
reversed it.
American cultural thing is, well, you eat all three like a king
Yeah.
until
yeah.
you weigh 600 pounds.
Yeah, this is true.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, so if you were to come to my house and I wanted to put forth my best fare in front of you, I would start with ribeye steaks
Except
with
Mhm.
steamed asparagus, topped again with hollandaise sauce, and then probably one of my own creations that I like the most is mashed sweet potatoes with cinnamon and cardamom.
Cardamom.
Cardamom, it's a
Cardamom.
spice,
Yeah.
very similar to cinnamon, but it gives a very not a pungent but a heavy feel.
If you smell it, it smells like feet.
Okay.
And then a stick of butter
Yeah.
on top.
To cover up the smell of feet.
add
My wife
a
loves
luscious
cardamom.
mouthfeel. But and so I've never had a complaint with that.
Mhm.
And I try and be healthy with the asparagus, and then top it with
Yes, the asparagus
That-
makes all the rest of that okay.
The hollandaise
Until you put
sauce over the
hollandaise
top
sauce
of
on
it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, because the asparagus isn't cooked in oil and butter either.
no, it's steamed. It's steamed.
Oh, God.
There
what's
you
the
go.
point?
Okay.
Yeah.
But so that if you were to sit at my table, that would be one of my go-tos. And I find it very delicious, and I have found a small butcher shop in Crestwood, Kentucky. It's called, of all things, Crestwood Meats. They have their own
Original.
It was so original, just like I bet Frank's
It's owned by a guy named Frank.
Oh yeah, he is. He's in there every day. Yeah.
Yeah, but they have their own spice mixture that they have. It's called gunpowder seasoning, and you open it up and look at it, and it's black and gray seasoning. It looks just like gunpowder. You season the steaks with that. I'm doing the typical French kiss of the fingers.
Chef's
to the
kiss
lip.
is what it's
Chef's
called.
kiss.
Yeah.
It makes it just
Ribeyes are good. With the marbling, the fat content, they're
Yeah.
often very, very good.
Often use
Texas
the-
Roadhouse does a good ribeye.
Yeah.
Usually. I've had one or two on occasion where the fat the marbling has overwhelmed. But it just kind of depends on which slab of meat you get out of the.
Yeah, that's luck of the draw stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is a good. I mean, like a sirloin's a very lean meat.
Yes.
Which is good. Don't get me wrong. But man, you go back and you get something that's marbled or has a nice edge of the fat around it. It just really changes the flavor of the steak.
self-basting.
Yeah.
Yep. Francis, since you eat steaks for breakfast, surely you do something different for dinner.
Well, I mean, I do love a good steak, and I've been messing with the grill a lot lately, so I'm kind of getting that down right. She bought some of these. They're not copper, but they're beige-colored, metal-bottomed cookware that you can't put in the dishwasher. That has been phenomenal. Actually, they have cooked so well for so many different things, and I've cooked.
Is this one of those ceramic
Ceramic.
I
inside?
think so. Yes, that's right.
Yeah, that's been real popular. I'm hearing really good things.
I
about
have learned
those.
how to work that on the stove very well. Her Majesty can cook, but in recent years,
but likes for you to cook. Let's just put it that way.
That's a good way. That's she prefers that. That's correct. That's a good way of phrasing.
She thinks
it.
you're a better cook.
And she sung my praises a lot later because I've kind of had to adapt. Pinterest has been very helpful, folks.
Okay.
Because you need to find a recipe. Go right
Do
there.
we need to take his man card for looking on Pinterest for recipes?
Yeah,
works,
I mean,
but
I
they
got-
also
I
have-
have
If
a
it's 4
collection of
recipes, we'll
cookbooks.
give him a pass. But when he starts doing arts and crafts,
No, none of that.
Based on Pinterest, yeah.
Yes,
Then
Well,
we'll
you know,
definitely-
there are women in bikinis on there, so I've been told.
So you've been told. Not that you would
Not that
know
I ever
personally.
see such
Yes.
a thing. No, of course not. But anyway,
Or that not that the imperator ever sends pictures of such
Hear-
things.
I can
no,
hear it
absolutely
now.
not.
I can hear it now. Oh, he's looking at titties. There's titties over here. There's titties over here.
No. They're fully clothed, of course. Perhaps slightly, but
Andre's going, shh! Don't say it out loud. Oh my God, what's wrong with you?
no.
there
One
are
of the
delicate ears in our audience.
Yeah, well, one of the things that I have discovered is I've always been a fan, and this goes back, I think, to my Nelson County days, is I love the one-pot meals.
Sure.
Stuff that you make in
Oh,
one
yeah.
pot.
Okay.
All right, so that's why...
It's not meant as derogatory, but it's often called a peasant soup.
Well, yes, I understand.
Or
Yeah.
it's
What's the origin of things like burgoo? It's,
Yeah.
Yes.
it's not like an
Whatever you
all
got,
day, or
you
an
put
all
it
week
in.
stew, but there's a term for it.
Yeah.
A stone soup is
Well, yeah,
one of those.
that comes from that.
It's just everything goes in,
Well,
and you just cook the
And
same
I've
thing
learned
all
the
week.
joys of crock pot that we've bought
Yes.
recently, and you can buy at Costco, especially. You can buy these great big ribs that I've learned. You know, you cut them apart, put some in the freezer, pop those boys in a crock pot, and I've actually been able to do that, and they've turned out well. Because I'm flying without a net, guys. I'm not a cooker. I'm not a
Well,
chef.
that is part of
That's
the
the
joy of learning
Part
to
of,
cook.
that's right, and my wife will give me a great deal of huge credit because she would turn her nose up if it wasn't good, and that's that's okay. And she's never done
When
that.
it's not good, just don't do it again.
Well, that's right, but
Yeah.
she'd tell me that if it was that kind of a thing, she wouldn't be mean or anything. But that's where everything she's really liked. Now I'm pretty. I don't want to say narrow, but I'm pretty programmed in the way I go with it. Polish sausage and cabbage
Yes.
is an easy one.
Polska kielbasa.
Fantastic
Oh, my
stuff. And
gosh.
it's so easy. It's easy
Yes.
to do that. I love to do that.
I
Throw
keep trying to talk Mrs.
Throw some
Robert
apples in there.
into making.
I don't know that I could do that. I get it. I will throw an onion in there. I bought one of those little choppers, those little, it used to be the Ronco Chop-O-Matic type things.
Yeah.
Just slap a chop.
Absolutely. It made it so
It's
much
a turnip
easier.
twaddler.
Yeah, it works very, very well for that. But my best one, the one that I'm most proud of and the one that I like to serve, and I don't think I've served it for you guys because it requires a little prep, is the Hungarian goulash. Believe it or not. It is.
Thumbs up.
Yeah, it is fantastic.
See, and goulash is not a dish that in the South people just come across.
No,
No.
it's not. It's
Uh,
not a Southern
no.
thing. It's
Being-
Hungarian.
Growing up in Michigan, well, it's not just Hungarian.
No, that's right. That's
it's a
the
Slavic dish.
It is. It's
Because-
that's the variety that I work
Yeah.
with.
You know,
Somehow or another, my mother discovered it. She loved goulash.
growing
She
up
has
in
some
Michigan,
German roots.
we have
I
a
was gonna say, you have a
huge
Polish.
Polish population.
Yeah.
And goulash was a thing that everybody, Polish or not, just had.
I was gonna say because
Now, a lot of times, it was Americanized into basically a chili with elbow macaroni.
Yeah.
Uh,
yeah.
but
yeah.
usually though there's more to it than just that. But I mean, that's probably the simplest way to
you
describe
guys had
it.
Polish restaurants up there, didn't
Yeah,
you?
yeah.
See, that's unheard of down here. You just-
Although my family, we didn't really go out to a whole lot of restaurants. I really didn't.
I understand, but even Tim Allen,
We
on,
didn't have
on
the money.
Home Improvement was always talking about Polish food was always his thing, and he's
Pierogies.
absolutely it was a but the
Never had one.
Hungarian goulash is fantastically easy to make, especially if you use the Instapot.
Yes.
I did this on my own without telling Her Majesty I was doing this, which is often a dangerous thing. I understand.
Yeah.
But she came home, and the first thing is, you did what? You did it with what? How did? Of course, the question is, how did you know how to do that? And I said, Pinterest, baby, come on.
Well, and that's the thing about cooking as opposed to baking.
Yeah.
Cooking is where you experiment.
Mm-hmm.
That's-
Baking you cannot.
No.
right? And it was not hard to do, and I don't know where
I mean, you can, but
It doesn't
it's
work real
dangerous.
well,
I, knew, I figured it. I saw it somewhere, and I said, "Man, that sounds so good." You just got to buy the right cut of meat. It's chuck.
Mm-hmm.
You cannot go with the cheap stuff. You got to stick with the chuck roast. Not that expensive, but if you buy the right size, about 3 pounds, cut it into cubes. You throw baby carrots. You add wine. You add beef broth. You add onions. You add butter, or you could use a substitute of margarine.
Yeah. I
It
mean,
could be
just
done. It's meant to
fake
be.
butter, yeah.
It could be done. So you could eat it. If I were to prepare it for you, I would do it with the margarine, and it is serve it over egg noodles.
I do love me some carrots.
Well, yeah, I said the baby carrots work great, and it doesn't take very long at all. And it is the one leftover that will get eaten in our house every single drop. The boy will eat it every single time. She will go back and eat it. Every single piece of the leftovers will always be eaten. It's the only leftover I can say that about, which to me I think is a badge of honor that I will happily wear.
Yeah, leftovers in my house. I'm fine with leftovers.
I love them.
But we grew up relatively poor, so leftovers were a requirement.
yeah.
You didn't
No
throw food-
choices. You're gonna eat it, and you're not getting anything else.
Yeah.
So it's not going anywhere.
It's
it's
dinner,
not like
lunch the next day and dinner the second day if there's still there.
sometimes, yeah.
Yeah,
But Mrs. Robert, she's never been a huge leftover fan. But honestly, I think that's because
well, there was just
her
three.
mom
There was just 3 of them though.
is
so
right. It was
it had
just
something
3 of
to do
them.
with it.
But her mom, she does fine. But from my perspective, she's a very bland cook and does very simple things. She does not
Yeah.
branch out, and that's partially just the way she grew up. It's all how you grew up.
Oh yeah, it's all
And-
family of origin.
And so
Absolutely. That's where I'm
she's
from.
not real big on the leftovers because they weren't that. I mean, no offense to Mrs. Roberts' mom,
Mm-hmm.
but just
Hopefully
she wasn't that fond of it the first time around. She didn't want to have it the second
Well,
time.
and we all come up with our things that hopefully that people like. If we
Yes.
try and it was okay, fine, whatever.
She's gotten better though. She has.
Try that. And I will before I spin it over to Martin here. I do want to mention that I have discovered the joys of making a traditional Southern cold pea salad. I used to detest peas as a child.
Yeah, not a fan.
Uh,
Although peas in my Mongolian beef from
And that's kind of
from
where
Penny's?
I've worked to.
Primo.
And I know this would never work for the
But those are
Imperator.
snow peas.
With the Imperator, but I can make, and it's all cold. You take your frozen peas, you take the huge white mushrooms sliced, you take.
You just left him out.
I understand, and then you have the red onions that I use a little chop-o-matic on, and then I'll get bacon bits and mayonnaise. That's it, folks. Salt and pepper, and you've got an easy vegetable. Because
Yeah.
we've been light on vegetables at this
Well,
point here, so I figured if
that-
Andre's going to do the asparagus,
Isn't that more fungus?
there's a little fungus among us. I understand that, but nevertheless, it's I've got some waiting in the refrigerator at home. I did it for on 4th of July. It's a 4th of July thing. It's a cold, type of thing. So I was able to put that together. It was very simple, but I've actually liked it a lot. But I will happily pass the baton
Yeah.
over to Martin.
Yeah. So I generally do not do complicated or one pot or multi-ingredient type things. That's kind of not what Mrs. Martin likes either.
Okay,
Uh,
that is a reasonable
Yeah,
thing. It's
Yeah.
not because you're lazy or dumb. It's because it's just what you like.
yeah, it's what we like.
Well, putting
yeah,
it all together is actually the more lazy way to do things.
yeah, I
suppose
mean,
that's true,
yes,
yeah.
if you could just dump everything in a pot. Now Bjorn and I did make Viking stew a couple of times. It was very good.
You've
Definitely
mentioned that,
Really?
yes.
Where did you
bread.
get the fresh Vikings?
But it's basically it's just beef and a little onion and a vegetable and some
Nothing
broth.
wrong with that. That's right.
Just-
yeah.
It's just
You found the
it's just
recipe
not-
online, I'm guessing.
yes, I believe he did.
Yeah.
And it's kind of root vegetables and beef kind of thing.
That sounds very Viking.
So it's
yeah.
it's so yes, it's very straightforward. But in addition to
Sounds like regular beef stew to me, but okay.
Well, I keep,
yeah,
I keep beef
essentially.
stock on hand at the house
yeah,
at all times.
Yeah.
Because you never know when you're going to need it.
it's just there's not a lot of other to it. It's just very basic.
Well, you put too much stuff into it, you've gone from beef stew to vegetable soup.
Totally fair.
Then throw in more veggies and it's back to stew.
One of my favorites is hibachi style. Something we've really grown to enjoy. So I mean,
Chicken?
yeah, I do chicken. She does steak.
Okay.
But that's again, it's kind of it's a little meat, some vegetables, and the rice. I love rice. So
Cooked in
yes.
a skillet?
Well,
Yeah.
there's a big movement now with the Blackstones, which is the new
you can do it
outdoor
on there. It's
ales.
like stir fry. Yeah.
and that's growing out.
I
in
actually
hibachi
bought.
movement.
I didn't buy a Blackstone. I really thought about it, but when I got my grill of my dreams, for the $74, it's like a 6-burner thing. I couldn't pass it up, but I went and bought one of those griddles that you lay on there. Now
Yes,
I've
I've been
not
wanting to
used
get one.
that yet.
Those are not cheap retail.
No, it was about $100. That's
Yeah.
right, to get one that covered the whole thing. But my intention was to do that sort of stuff, but also to be able to cook hash browns
Yes.
properly.
Yes.
Because you've got to get all the water out of it, all the liquid completely out, and let it lay on the griddle and go with it. I've done it once, and it turned out great. But I did it in the skillet, not in the otherwise. I'm sorry, I
So-
slid over to something.
But
there.
yeah, and again, another favorite is just like a grilled or pan fried chicken breast. And again, I like rice. I like carrots. Kind of basic vegetables.
How you cook
potatoes.
your rice?
Just whatever. Sometimes it's just that microwave stuff.
Oh, I was going to say,
But I like it.
the Instapot has been very good for that.
Yeah,
we
we
have used that
Yeah.
very effectively, and it
Yeah.
is so easy. Rice, water, salt, lid.
You want to kick your rice up a notch? Substitute chicken broth,
Chicken
for
broth.
water.
Chicken or
Yes.
beef broth.
That's a good
depending on
idea. I
your-
don't
Yes.
think I've done that. And then you
So-
hit the rice button on the damn thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She didn't know about that. She was cooking rice the other week. Says, "How do you do this again?" Because she hadn't done it in a while. And I said, "I push the rice button."
You can also
the
make
rice
yogurt.
button. Yeah, that's right. It's pretty damn easy.
How much did you have to control your response when you said the rice button?
Oh.
Rice button?
Oh yeah. Yes, let's just say, the tone. She would say, "It's all about your tone, young man." Yes,
Yes.
ma'am, I understand.
Yes.
So another favorite recipe from Mrs. Martin is she calls it bang bang chicken,
Oh.
where it's kind of spicy.
Oh, it's
Like,
kind of
Yes, yes.
It's like sweet and sour sauce mixed with the Duke's mayonnaise
yeah,
and
definitely
coat
Dukes, always Dukes.
and coat the chicken in that and put it in the Ninja Foodie, and
Which is the air fryer,
it's like an air cooker fryer.
but it's also an Instapot too, if I'm not
sort of
mistaken.
kind of yeah.
Because we ended up one of those and gave it to the boy actually because we didn't use it much.
Yeah.
We've used the Instapot all the time.
It's a very similar idea. Oh, you're cooking for
It
how
just has
long?
different modes that the
Yeah.
regular
Yeah.
instant
Right.
pot
Hit the
does.
button.
She actually suggested. She said, "We bought it. Yeah, I paid, but I don't want it. I put it out in the garage, and then we gave
So
it to the
that
boy."
that chicken comes out great,
Really
and so but it's just like
similar to the bang bang shrimp like you get up here at Aspen
Probably
Creek.
so,
Yeah, 'cause
yeah.
that's
but
really
it's
good.
it's like sweet and sour sauce and the Duke's mayo and some other
You
ingredients.
should try it over some shredded cabbage.
Well, okay.
Cabbage is not for everybody, unfortunately.
You don't like cabbage? There's
I like
nothing-
coleslaw,
I understand.
but I'm not much for cooked cabbage.
No, it's not cooked. It's
And
not cooked. Yeah,
well,
it's
Raw cabbage can cause
it's
intestinal distress.
it's
and stuff.
shredded, and you
Yeah.
add a little bit of oil to it.
See, to me,
Or dressing?
again, coming from
Very
a
light.
certain background, you're doing it wrong if you do it that way. Because yes,
That's how they serve it at Aspen Creek's the reason I mentioned.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Whatever. Aspen
Yeah,
Creek.
that's okay.
It makes
Um,
it eat.
How would you serve it if you were to use it?
Sour
Well,
cream.
you would do it almost like a stir fry, with either the kielbasa or some kind of sausage.
Ah,
Yeah.
Also with potatoes
Mhm.
and the cabbage
Yeah.
all together, and whatever else you might want to add to it for flavoring, or
Yeah.
you might add some other
It-
stuff. Not cheese though. It's not something you should ever put cheese on.
Agreed.
Right.
We will happily concede that.
And
one.
that's again my attraction to
And the oil, right
Asian
kind of oil.
style cuisine, Korean fusion,
Mhm.
Chinese, Japanese. Dairy's a rare ingredient,
Yes, that
And
I'm sure is
so-
a big.
Oh, I
you
see.
know,
I see.
and
I'm
it-
connecting the dots here. Yeah.
and
okay.
generally it's
Mhm.
kind of light and straightforward anyway. And my cousin, we were talking about her ex-husband's Korean. Her son's half Korean. They like bulgogi, and
Yeah.
have made it.
Kimchi
and I
is good when it's
love
done well.
bulgogi.
Yeah.
And Korean barbecue flavors are very, very
Mhm.
good.
It's become a big thing here in
Yes.
the United States to import
So
that
yeah,
Korean
that's something you
barbecue.
can find around. And so Chinese, Japanese fusion, that's all good stuff.
Mhm.
Love it, love it. And so that's a kind of a favorite dinner as well. But I'm a big chicken fan, so I do that. And then a good thick pork chop done right is awesome. Also very good.
Not too dry. I understand.
Yep. A breaded pork chop sandwich, not good for you. You should put like ground up Lipitor into the batter, but they're so good also. That's another favorite. So, but it's again you have to seek that stuff out. It's
Mhm.
Mrs. Martin and I were just standing around here yesterday trying to figure out what we wanted to do, and believe it or not, we kind of missed the whole idea of let's just get a pizza. After a while, when you're
Mhm.
younger, like I don't want to just get another pizza. You do that all the time, and here we were kind of missing it.
Oh yeah,
Well,
it's
there's a lot of great craft pizza places here in town.
very
now.
much so.
Yeah.
Sicilian
Yeah.
across the
Craft
street.
House.
Oh, it's good.
I know you guys
Fairdale
are fans.
Pizza, which is what's the other name for Fairdale? It's the same place. And, there's another name that some of the others are done by.
Mhm.
Beer nose.
No, it's not that, but no, because it's a local thing. Barano's is a.
The
national-
Sicilian is one that we really like. There's one right
Yeah,
across.
Sicilian's across. That's
I'm
good.
pretty sure that's
pizza.
in other cities.
Bear
It may
nose?
not be now because it's.
No, Bear Nose is local.
I thought it was in other places.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
only been in
Well,
Louisville.
No, I don't think it's just. I mean, it may
But I
have
think it is
spread.
it's a
Yeah,
franchise.
It may have started here, but that's my
Yeah.
point. So it's
Well,
not
the
just-
lady I
okay.
used to work with, her husband is one of the franchisees that does that.
Yeah.
So that
Anyways, yeah,
They
I didn't
had-
realize
they
it
had-
started here, but that
they had the
doesn't
Bear
surprise
Nose
me.
by the bridge. Actually, they moved.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
the rent got too high.
Yeah.
The
So
rent's too
that's-
damn high.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's basically
So
it.
that's,
I love
that
that
is
guy.
something I do miss is just let's just get a pizza.
Love a good Bear Nose. She thinks it's too thick. I love a good.
Oh
Sicilian.
no, that's what
Yeah.
makes Barano's so
I know,
great. Is
there are
that,
days
Oh.
you just
all
kinda
that
do
meat.
Amen. Yes. Sing it, brother. Solidarity, brother, sister, sibling.
Sibling.
Pella's Aries, right? That's
Oh,
I guess
yeah,
it-
Pella's
that's
Aries.
absolutely got
That's
that
a
local-
local
there's-
place.
yeah, it is, but it's not
Uh,
local to where we live.
Yeah.
You know, there's
No.
not. You'd have to go out of your way to get that.
It's over
Uh,
on 3rd Street, right?
There's one on Bardstown Road. There's one downtown. The original was on Bardstown
Mm-hmm.
Road because it was at the end of Rockledge where my aunts lived.
Well, yeah, we had it at Bellarmine many times.
Constantly because it's right there, and I would go over to my aunt's, Aunt Peggy's over there,
Mhm.
and a lot of times she'd say, I'll buy the pizza if you go up and get it. I said, hey,
Amen.
Amen.
absolutely done that.
Especially when you're a college student.
well, yeah,
Got
'cause,
more legs than
all
money.
her kids are younger. They're all still in grade
Yeah.
school. So,
So the pizza joint we loved that was close to Bellarmine back in the day, Giacomo's.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
well, we were one of the
I
ones.
think that's Wix now, basically.
Yes,
Yeah,
Wix.
Wix is excellent. I'll give you that. But we were one of the initial. I don't know if you've realized this. We were one of the initial investors in Papa John's because the first Papa John's was right there on Bardstown Road,
Mhm.
and we were one of the ones at Bellarmine that everybody. That's all we ordered because of the dipping butter.
Oh yeah.
That's right. That was nobody else would do that, and we had to give that guy Schnotter tons and tons of our capital because there were Papa John's pizzas coming in and into
Yes.
Bellarmine all the time into the dorms.
Mhm.
But Godfather's We would shoot over to Godfather's
If you
on
can-
Hikes Lane.
If you can get them. Now, they're not here
Oh,
locally.
I thought he
now.
meant the place on Preston just down from Trixie's.
Yes.
Oh, the
Well,
strip joint, no.
Trixie's is down
That's a
on
different
Mexican
kind of meat.
Club.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there
They
was
had
a
the
Godfather's
buffet.
right up here in Fern Creek for a long time,
Yeah.
but you
But that's all gone.
they're
now.
all gone.
But
That's right.
we would either do Giacomo's Pizza or shoot over to Godfather's for the buffet. And, oh my, that was like $3.50 or something for like all you could eat pizza and a Coke or something. It was
Right. And-
crazy.
Yeah, that was
But
crazy.
that
even
was a
back
couple
then.
of years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, been a
So-
minute.
Oh, yeah.
Imperator.
Yes. Let's move on.
What about dinner for you?
I think my favorite's probably my wife's Alfredo.
You did mention that. Yeah,
yeah, I
that
had.
she
She's-
makes this
she's-
from scratch.
She makes it from scratch.
Okay, I presumed that. but-
Delicious. Yeah, that's probably my
Mhm.
favorite. I mean, I've been investing a lot in cooking utensils, cooking equipment, and things
You're
like
an
that.
induction guy, if I recall correctly.
I am. I do induction because we've got the induction that we've invested in is extreme high accuracy temperature wise.
Right.
Yeah.
That is a gift.
because that's
Yeah.
an important, the temperature control.
Yeah, if you're going to get really complex with your dishes,
yeah.
that is important.
And
yes.
You got to learn your
I,
stove. That's taken me a long time.
Now sous vide, I don't do that. That kind of style. That's why a lot of the steak places and things I don't enjoy anymore, because they can keep that meat at that temperature for 3 or 4 days, and it's just sitting there waiting for them to slap it on to sear it, and then throw it out. It's set at whatever temperature it is for the cooking, medium,
Yeah.
rare,
Yeah, so
rare,
it's done.
whatever.
Less freshness then.
Yeah, I mean, it just doesn't. There's nothing wrong with it because it's perfectly cooked. It's perfectly fresh,
it
realistically.
Hits all the markers. Yeah.
I just don't.
It's out of
care
your
for
comfort
it.
zone.
It's out of my comfort zone.
Snob.
Yeah, well, I love grilling. I love cooking various Asian varieties.
You've always
of
been an
food.
Asian
I've always
fan when
been
it
an
comes to
Asian
that. That's
fan.
correct. Yeah.
I've got induction cooktops that are specifically shaped for woks, which do a wonderful job with a 14-inch wok.
I never.
How
cooking
deep does
inside.
that go? Because obviously, with the rounded bottom, that makes a
It
difference.
actually does a good cupping. It's a perfect cupping of a 14-inch wok.
Right, but I mean, how far up the side of the wok does that go?
Oh, not very far.
Well,
okay,
the
so
heat's
it's
at the
still just
bottom.
basically the base.
Yeah,
okay.
I never mastered that.
Wok cooking is the heat's in the middle. You pull stuff up to the side
Right,
to
right.
kind of separate.
I tried
it.
for years. In fact, our friend from
Uh,
Michigan, that was his wedding gift to us. Was our first
What
walk.
was your first wok?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, when we had a wok, we used to make it stir. I used to make stir fries, and the
Oh,
kids
yeah.
I
loved
could
it.
never master it. I
Constant.
tried.
I got my grandmother gave us our first hand hammered official Chinese wok from the commercials back before we got married. We were just living together then.
Oh my goodness, that is a
Sinning.
And
that is more than a few
I've
away.
still got that wok.
Really?
So we've had it probably 36 years, almost 34 years.
I was gonna say that's
35.
about well.
Yeah.
You all were married before we got married.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, and we lived together before that.
I remember that part, but I couldn't remember when your all's actual anniversary was.
Yeah, it's about 4.5. Well, it's February 14th.
1990.
That's right.
February
I
14th.
remember the date. I couldn't remember the year. That's right.
1990.
Well,
we
that's the
got
same year as
married.
us then. Yeah, because
Yeah.
we were just a few months later.
But I've been doing a lot more of that kind of stuff. Now, Victoria has been doing the buying and tossing aside repeatedly different Instapots and air fryers and
Yeah.
combination different air convection and what have you. Because of my head injury and things like that, we've gotten away from, we don't have a stove anymore. We tossed that
Because it's all induction for you.
because
all.
we've got all induction
Yeah.
stuff. Plus, for it's just us, so the countertop kind of units and what have you do great for cooking, baking and
I was going
stuff
to say,
like
it
that.
still works for baking.
Yeah, she does baking and all kinds of
Okay.
stuff and all of these different things, and So we're all stainless steel countertops, restaurant sink, and and then the industrial fridge and freezer, and no cabinets anywhere in the house. We don't have any cabinets.
I did not know that. Well, my world is turning. I don't know
yeah.
how the new word you manage that. Yes.
We don't. We have all shelves and stuff that we put stuff on because I have to be able to see things.
Oh,
remember
okay.
it's
Well, so
there.
all right. So it's just no doors, essentially. Yeah.
And we don't have any
Or sides.
or
Yes,
sides.
or sides. Yeah. that's
Or
right.
tops.
And to be fair, we don't have any doors in the house.
Well, I do remember that.
Which is
Yeah.
why you always announce yourself when
Yeah.
you go into another room.
We don't have any doors
You
in
say-
in the house.
I'm coming into the room.
Yes.
Well, you can't say decent because the answer is always no.
No,
but
nobody's decent.
Are you covered in some
Yes.
manner?
Am I going to be blinded if I walk into the room,
So
or
we'll do different stuff all the time, or a lot of the times, most of the times, Victoria and I just eat out. We go and
Right.
and
Once
go
you
to a
reach the
restaurant.
empty nest stage, which we're all at,
Yeah,
Uh,
or
I'm not.
almost,
We're
but,
close.
but you're just shy of it.
yeah.
well,
everything-
we will have the mother-in-law, until that day,
Oh,
sometime
that's
far
right.
in the
Well,
future.
that's
Hold
true.
on.
You have that, but it does make a huge change. Am I right?
Oh, yeah.
Well,
Eating,
a lot.
eating out is all of a sudden highly affordable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Whereas
yes,
it
when
was
you
less
get your
so.
You're feeding
last-
2 instead of 4.
That's
Yes.
right.
when you get
absolutely.
that teenage boy in college and eating on the university's dime,
Yes.
then you'll be there. Yeah.
then
Yeah.
I if nothing else, the grocery bill will go down just because we're not buying 3 gallons of milk a day.
Okay.
He's a big milk drinker.
I didn't realize that. Yeah.
He doesn't drink soft drinks.
I have returned to milk
Oh.
in recent years. Yeah, it's very good with.
I've always had milk. Yeah.
I'm not a milk
I went
drinker.
away from it for a long time, but I gave up soft drinks. You guys know that.
Yep.
And having a thing of whole milk on hand for cereal is pretty awesome.
Yeah.
You can always
You know,
always have that.
That was interesting. Our breakfast, nobody mentioned cereal. We're all of the age of
Cereal.
Captain Crunch,
Yeah.
and that was
All those.
he
oh
was
my,
our greatest hero.
Oh my lord! If you,
But see, I prefer
could
hot
probably-
breakfast.
we could probably,
Yeah.
and I understand that, but
I'll have cereal at night.
I've been known to do that. But dang, I love good cereal. I love cereal. I think we're of that age when we were thoroughly conditioned.
Oh
by
yeah,
the, by the
by
by-
cereal.
by the
Well-
cereal
Well,
thing.
that's because we're Gen
Fruity
X. We had
Pebbles
to
and-
do it ourselves.
That's right.
Yes.
And so the
And-
cereal box and milk, that was the easiest thing for us to do.
If
Peanut
I
butter.
never eat another bowl of honeycombs and tear up the top of my mouth, it'll be a great day.
Well, but the other thing is, one of the things we were trying to do was get into the bottom of that before anybody
So we-
else did, so we
yes.
could get the prize.
I was the oldest. I was
Yes.
always the first one to grab it because I was bigger
Yeah.
than the other three, so it wasn't a problem.
Run
in
your
my
hand
house.
down the side of the inside of the
That's
bag.
right. You learned how to
and
do it. That's
get
right.
on the
That's right.
bottom.
Pull that prize
And
right
you get
out.
that
That's right.
sticker.
Mhm.
Yes,
Oh,
back when
magnet.
they're
We
the
had
bag.
we
It
had
was
actual prizes.
yeah, we did. Yeah, well, and that's presuming there was a bag because I remember a
Yeah.
time when there was no bag inside the
inside?
box. Yeah,
Oh wow, I hadn't thought about that. I mean, we could talk a long time about some of those great cereals that no longer are. Perhaps a blog post is coming.
Yeah.
I'm thinking
Yeah,
about
but
that.
that's
because-
one thing that I gave up that I realized I don't miss.
So,
'Cause
well,
it's just too sweet. That stuff is just
Yeah.
it's too sugary.
See, I
Well,
mean,
there are versions of it that aren't bad. The frosted mini wheats with one side done and the other, it's not highly sweet at
Yeah.
all. Of course,
See,
you're not going to eat it with milk anyway, so you're not going to be eating most of this stuff.
Yeah, so I mean that's part of
Well-
what giving it up is move away from milk. But it's just like so much of it. Was so Cheerios were about the only non.
I liked Honey Nut Cheerios.
Yeah, I was going to say I have one of those trauma stories about Cheerios because that was one of the things my mother would often buy, and we would have a cabinet next to the stove where all the cereal would go, which underneath, which in retrospect was a bad plan on her part, but nevertheless that's where it went. But some of the things we eventually discovered was we weren't touching the Cheerios. We would buy everything else, but the cereal, because there's no sugar in it, so we didn't touch it. And we finally, in the back, and I think I was the one that did it. One of my sisters, I don't remember which one was with me. When we finally cleaned all that out, and I pulled out a box of Cheerios that had been there for a very long time, and we found
Nice.
bugs in it,
oh, but,
and,
my
and it
God.
really
Oh.
just kind of freaked all of us out.
Extra
so,
protein, no extra
absolutely.
charge.
So
Yeah.
Cheerios have been off the grid ever since that
Yep.
time, and probably always will be.
People don't realize that any of those grain-based stuff pretty much has weevil eggs in it, and if you leave it long enough, they'll
And they
hatch.
did. Yes, indeed, they did.
Uh,
Feels like we're in the British Navy in the
Yeah.
1800s.
Yes,
Yeah,
you must
that-
pick the lesser of the two weevils.
Absolutely, we
Yes.
must. That's right.
that'll-
All right.
All right.
So, where does that leave us?
me,
Yeah, that's right. Don't.
All right, let's. All right, Robert's
Robert's finishing,
yeah.
and then we'll wrap us up.
and don't cut me short because you guys went way long.
Total fairness. In total fairness, she's right.
I tried to go fast and
You did,
and
yes, yes.
slide in a lot of options.
Yeah, well, we rabbit hole,
Yeah.
So dinner for me is interesting in many ways because, growing up with parents from the South, what I grew up eating, most of my compatriots did not, which was kind of a shock to me.
Mhm.
I remember a friend of mine was over at the house and offered dinner. His mom was coming to pick him up
Our
soon.
current friend from Michigan.
Different guy.
Okay, just curious.
His mom was going to come pick him up relatively soon, and he was going to eat with them, but we had offered dinner, and it was soup beans, which, for those of you who don't know what soup beans are, that's what real Southerners call pinto beans.
Yep.
All right, it's not bean soup. I still cannot get my mother-in-law to get that through her head. It is not bean soup. Bean soup is a totally different
It
animal
is. You're
to
correct.
us.
It is an animal, very different animal.
Anyways, that's another one. Don't get me started on. He's like, "What is this?" And he wasn't exactly repulsed, but he's like, "That's just weird."
Is there meat in the soup beans? There is.
You can.
Ham hock.
We do ham. Now it's
Generally
usually
speaking.
cooked with either a ham hock or a piece.
That's
of,
what I'm thinking here. That's similar to the way we would do it.
pork belly or something like that in the meat.
Whatever you got left over. Yeah.
I like it cooked with ham.
Yeah. That's.
My son. He's not as big on that, but it's okay for him. And the recipe my wife makes is not exactly how my mom did, but it took her a while because again that was not what she grew up with. So
Correct.
learning how to make soup beans,
It was a concession to you. Yeah.
and now it's one of the favorite meals in the house.
Oh, well, that's always a.
But
plus.
it was always paired with fried potatoes, always, and cornbread,
Cornbread, yeah.
and sometimes with salmon patties. It just kind of depended on whether or not we had that.
Oh yeah, that's a very southern.
We would do that in
Absolutely.
Lent.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It was a late addition for
Yes,
us.
that for us that's a good Lenten meal is soup beans without the ham. So that was one of the things that grew up eating. We ate kielbasa and fried potatoes. Again, fried potatoes were part of almost every meal, depending on what
Oh,
it
yeah.
was. And that was relatively common. Fried chicken, real fried chicken.
Oh yes, my grandmother was a master, absolute master.
where you do your own breading, and
Yes.
and
And
not just flour.
my mother would
there's a
do
mix.
her own. It was different, but it was
Yes.
good. It was just, but it was I still dream of my grandmother's fried chicken.
Yes.
Wow, lost to the ages.
Yeah, because I tell you what, getting it breaded properly,
Yep.
and then being able to fry it up to where the breading actually stays on it and becomes the crispy part.
Yeah.
That's an art.
Oh,
That
it
is
is.
absolutely an art.
Yeah, we've lost a lot of that
Yes.
understanding because we can get it so readily.
Well,
We
it's
don't
not even
realize what it
that, but
takes.
people don't at home. They don't make that kind of food because it's not the healthiest,
And it's
it
labor
also
intensive
takes a lot
too.
of time.
and it's labor intensive. People don't have that kind of time anymore.
It was a Sunday afternoon staple at my grandparents' house.
that was during the week for us. I mean, that
We would
that could
too.
be
that's
any
right,
time.
but it was guaranteed on Sunday.
So, and yes, we would have steak and baked potato on occasion. My mom would make cabbage rolls.
Really?
Cabbage rolls, which is hamburger, rice, spices, other stuff. You mix it up into a almost like a, not quite a meatloaf because it's not that, but it's similar consistency.
Yeah.
You wrap it in cabbage roll,
yeah.
cabbage leaf. You put it in the pan with tomato sauce and it might be chunked tomatoes, diced
Yeah,
tomatoes,
we've had that.
whatever.
I
That's
remember
Eastern
that.
European
And-
cooking.
Yeah, well, it's the Polish influence in southeast Michigan, and so loved that, loved it. She would do stuffed bell peppers with the same.
That was a very common thing for us too.
It was
I
the
wouldn't
same
eat the
thing that
peppers,
went to the
but-
cabbage roll,
But all
went
the
into
all the
stuffed
stuffing inside we would eat.
pepper. Yeah. Pepper steak was a common thing, and a lot of these, Mrs. Robert just did not grow up making, so it was a big adjustment between the two of us figuring out a cuisine that we could both handle.
Well, yeah, it's. I mean, we've done it in marriage prep. We talk about it all the time.
Mhm.
Because it's like,
That's
what do
a
you mean
huge
you're not
adjustment.
making fried potatoes as part of dinner?
Well, that's yeah.
That
What do
that's
you mean
just
you don't
wrong.
serve white bread on the table?
You're right.
That sort of stuff. It's a big deal.
So that's the kind of stuff I grew up with. But after getting to know Mrs. Robert, a lot of that stuff I just didn't have that often. But now today, though, the soup beans, fried potatoes, and cornbread, the kielbasa, those are now it's not the same kind of kielbasa that we did in Michigan. We generally get the Eckrich skinless sausage because they don't like the skin, which is fine. It's tasty. It's good. I don't have a problem with that. But those are kind of staples, which to a lot of people that just sounds like unusual meals, which I get. That's fine. I do like good Chinese food, Mexican food.
Yeah, we didn't even talk about
That's one we haven't mentioned. Yeah,
Italian.
Like I'm not as big on Italian.
I'm not either.
Mrs. Robert loves it, but
if you
again,
would
it's
ask
the
me
noodles.
my favorite cuisine, ethnically, it would always be Italian. It would be. That's right.
It's most of that is so heavy on dairy. I had to kind of give up most Italian.
I love huevos con chorizo, which is the Spanish sausage, Mexican sausage, spicy. Oh, I love that. Get that at El Nopal there on New Cut. And
Muscles and Burger Bar has a chorizo burger that is fantastic.
And we've gotten it at home and made it with some different stuff. We'll have good meatloaf. Again, I'm always a little depending on what we
Can't do
get.
meatloaf.
Somebody say
I
up
love
meatloaf.
Yeah.
That would be him.
My mother and sister
Marcus-
loved meatloaf.
It is
Now-
one of the great gifts.
If
My
it's
wife
done
makes-
well.
That's
Now,
right.
Hamburger
My wife
and
makes a
ketchup.
fantastic
Screw it up
meatloaf.
real royally.
You can, and you can also, you can make it. It's like you only went like halfway with it. Like again, my mother-in-law, she loves to make meatloaf. She's not necessarily the best at making meatloaf. We tend to have to salt and pepper everything she does because to her,
It's kind of the way I grew up. It was
Yeah.
expected.
well, I mean, we did that too growing up. But I mean, even my wife who grew up with her has to salt and pepper everything.
More than should be normed.
Yeah. So like to me, the weirdest thing was you're taking a bottle of. Yes, I know. You stop looking at your watch. I'm seeing it right
I'm
here.
getting buzzed. About
Oh, you're getting it
something.
buzzed.
Yeah.
Okay, because it's like a fourth or fifth time you've looked at your watch
The
since
watch
I started.
keeps sending me
Notices.
notices, so I don't know.
We're about to get evicted.
Yeah.
But anyways, putting like squeezing ketchup on top of your meatloaf to me that was just odd because that's not
You
how
have
we
to
made
do
it.
that.
Yeah.
No. It's
That
how
is-
you make it.
That is a common thing.
Yeah,
yes,
here it is. That's not how I grew up
but
making.
Michigan, it was not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was it wasn't ketchup. You might have had a tomato sauce or whatever that it was cooked in. But it was just not ketchup on top. That to me, that was just the weirdest thing. But I'm used to it. And, that's fine.
Yeah.
Whatever. I do like a good steak, a good burger. When it comes to to beef, it's all about the seasoning.
Yeah.
For me,
I would agree. Yeah.
Yeah.
I do up my own mix of.
And that's part of why I like chicken. It's a good palate for
To me, chicken is very bland, so it
seasoning.
really requires.
Yeah, right. You
yeah.
have to season it
Yeah.
and do something with it. Yeah.
I do a good garlic powder, onion powder, salt, pepper, some various other things, and use that on my burgers, my steaks. My kids love it. When they were younger, it's like, oh, let's have Daddy make burgers because we like his.
Really?
Oh yes,
Because he seasons it.
because of how I season it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. We do them fairly.
You
good.
can make or
Yeah.
break a dish with seasoning.
You
Oh,
can,
yes.
you can.
You can.
We eat out way too much. We'll order pizza. A good craft pizza is good. A lot of times we do default to Papa John's. Partially that's for the breadsticks and little cups of garlic butter.
I was going to say, we
Because
Because
are
I tell you
all-
what, those little cups of garlic butter,
They are good.
that's the best part about Papa John's pizza.
Well, we all eat,
Uh,
as
Indeed.
nesters, more or less.
Mhm.
Eating out is a thing for us. And it's a Louisville thing. It really is.
Well,
It
Louisville
is
is
You're a
an eat out
foodie
town.
town.
is a foodie town.
Yeah.
People who grow up here don't realize that.
That's
Yeah.
correct. It's
They
not
think
that
it's
way
normal.
everywhere else.
Yeah. Now if you grew up in a large city, yes, there's a lot of different variety, but that's because it's a large city.
Mhm.
Louisville's it's a relatively small town to have this kind of a food. culture.
Yeah.
It's
For restaurants to be busy on a Monday in this town.
Yeah, Steve be open on a Monday.
nobody
Yeah, that doesn't
eats at
happen
home.
other places.
Everybody eats out constantly here.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which is a sign of affluence, I suppose.
is.
But I often wonder, is it just a cultural thing? We just
It's
do
both.
It could also be an affordability issue because the restaurants have to compete with one another for the diners, so their prices might be a little lower.
Well,
but
There's
more
truth to that.
affordable.
I've often
There's
thought
a lot of high end places here,
Yes.
though,
there are,
as well as.
and
lower-
I've noticed, and I'm wondering if you all do too. Restaurants have a tendency to not last long.
No.
They are
They
not
do have a
in
kind of a
this
lifespan
town.
in
It's
this
a
town.
short lifespan, and I would tell you they'd have to be a bad investment. I would think
It can
because
be
Well,
very
they-
tough because
people got to love.
they
to do
go
that
a little
stuff.
bit in a cycle where if business is off a little,
Yeah,
then they start cutting costs,
Yes.
and then
and people are
it goes
fickle.
downhill
They
a
are
little bit
fickle
more,
bad.
and they're
Goes-
like, "There's so many places in this
Mhm.
town. We'll just go somewhere else."
Yeah.
That's right.
Like if
And
you
it-
go to
so it's a
Five
death
Guys
spiral.
Burgers and you can eat all the fries, you know they're in financial trouble.
That's
Because
an
they had to
interesting-
cut back.
that's an interesting way of putting that. Yeah, because Five Guys is one of my favorite. I mean, it's a very pricey.
It is.
It's a damn good burger.
It is, but it's a little hard to pay that
I've
price
never
for that
cared
burger.
for it.
It
Oh,
is.
I like
It's hard to pay the price. You're exactly right.
I liked home run burgers a little better.
I've tried
Definitely.
them. That we
Yeah.
have one here in Fern Creek that took the place of a KFC. Ironically enough,
Yes.
it's dry for me.
They must be doing.
But we've
something
been
wrong.
going to Freddy's instead.
Freddy's is good. It's
Freddy's
basically a
is good.
steak and shake 2.0,
Yeah.
Yeah.
which is very good because we've got one close here.
Yes.
It's okay. I've not.
There's
I like
Jaggers.
Freddy's. I like Freddy's the fries and the fry sauce. But I think the burgers are very, very good.
Nobody
fries
beats
are
Rally's
important.
fries.
When I
Oh, yeah, Rally
Rally
fries are
fries.
Oh yeah,
are the
he's.
best.
I know he's a huge rally fry. We would go
Love
make those runs.
Growing up when I was in high school, especially that period when we were all in high school,
Mhm.
that's the epitome of. Although in the '70s as well, that latter half of the '70s, when we were all the first latchkey kids.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Quite often we had to, especially when you're in high school, you have maybe breakfast and you've got whatever
Mhm.
you eat for lunch at school,
Yeah.
but then you have second lunch or first dinner
Yeah.
when you get home
Okay,
before anybody
Hobbit.
else gets
Come
home.
home.
Absolutely. Yeah, there's
Yeah,
truth to
you
that.
gotta raid the.
as you turn a spaghetti noodle as it's held over the burner on the stove.
Well, I've never done that. No.
Never done that one. You're
No?
right, but
Well,
that was. I mean, you could raid the cereal.
yeah.
That
Well,
was
no. See what
common.
my mom did. My mom loved bean. We had a Fry Daddy.
Yeah.
Mhm.
oh, I remember the Friday.
You got to
Oh,
fry
we-
your own.
We never had one, but I
So-
remember a lot of my aunts. did.
She would get bags of large bags of French fries,
Mhm.
and she would get packages of. You can still get them. You just don't see them very often. Individual packages of like 4, 5, 6 breaded either chicken patties or the
Mhm.
veal patties were awesome.
Really?
Yeah.
And
Put them in the
you
fried daddy.
put that in the Fry Daddy. Oh my gosh, that
She would
is-
let you do that.
Oh yeah.
Well, I'm
Unsupervised.
we're Gen X. Of course, she.
That's what I'm trying
Yeah.
to tease
She had,
out. Is
she
that
had
yes.
shit to do.
that's
Yeah.
right.
You're on
that's
your
right.
own.
You're on.
You're on your own.
That's
Yeah.
right. This
Could,
just
could you imagine releasing a 12-year-old now to deep fry their own
Oh
food?
hell no. 7 and 8.
Yeah, I mean,
Absolutely.
that was
Yeah.
Burn the whole house down.
Yes.
exactly.
It's a wonder.
It's kind of what I've. Yeah, it's just.
And that's got
that's unique to us.
Mhm.
I mean, so the fries for me are a big because
Oh,
I'd
yeah.
often cut up my own fries and make them.
But
My own
Like you had
potatoes.
Gen
we had a
X.
fry daddy. Yeah, I
Yeah.
can see that. We had an electric skillet. My mother bought it at one of those like Tupperware
An
parties. that
electric skillet
was pretty
is-
sure.
Oh yeah.
About the only thing my
Chicken
mom
and
used
fries.
it for was the chicken.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yes.
Really, it was meatloaf for us. That's how she cooked that meatloaf.
Really?
Yeah, it was. It was one of those. I remember when the guy came by, and there was all my aunts and all the neighbors and stuff like that, and he's selling all this
door-to-door sales kind
Yeah,
of
it's like a Tupperware party, except it was for cooking stuff. And my mother bought the
early
electric-
version of
Yeah.
Pampered Chef.
Pampered Chef.
Absolutely, it's probably
more
72, 73. I'm a
Uh-huh.
little kid. She buys
Yeah.
this electric skillet, kept it underneath, but it only got pulled out for the meatloafs. But dang, it was good meatloaf.
Interesting.
It
Wow.
really worked. It was
I
just
think-
a round thing that you plugged in.
Oh, see, ours were squares.
Big,
Yeah,
big
that was a
size.
later model. This is
And-
early. This is designed to.
Oh, well, I
cook
mean, yeah, we had it
stuff.
easily from the time my earliest memories. We had that thing.
Yeah.
We also had a griddle. That's where Mom made the pancakes, and occasionally would fry.
Other than that,
meats.
it was iron
Yep.
skillet most of the time.
Occasionally the pepper steak I talked
That's right.
about. Yeah, so it depends. But the pepper steak was made in that thing, which was
Dutch oven.
great.
She had an iron Dutch oven that
Yeah.
that we used for that.
So what kind of fries?
Oh well, now see now
So
that's the
that's-
thing.
Regular
that's-
straight.
Steak fries.
See, that depends. My thing about fries is not so much the style
Mhm.
as the outside needs to be crisp,
Mhm.
Agreed.
but the inside still needs to be soft.
Yes.
Fluffy and soft.
And yes, and if you do that in a crinkle cut, I'm fine. You do that in a steak fry, great. But
It's hard to do a steak fry because you can overcook a steak fry if you're trying
See,
to get the
it-
outside.
Because they're thicker, yeah.
Well, but the thing is though,
String.
with a no, like the McDonald's style or the steak and shake. No,
Those were hard to come by for a long time in the
well
70s.
to me those were Well, when you're a kid, McDonald's is great because you're a kid.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't like them because
Shoestring.
it's impossible. Yeah, shoestring. Yeah, I don't like them because it's almost impossible to get that fluffy and crispy mix that we just
Yeah,
talked
it's
about.
harder
Yeah,
to
they
do
cook
that.
But as far as doing it with steak fries, you can. You just have to be careful and watch.
Yeah.
Again, did this every day in school, so it became a master at this. You put the potatoes in. As soon as they start floating, they're ready.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you want to get them a little browner, you can do that, but you run the risk of getting all of the grease soaked into the potato because that's the thing.
Yep.
That's what'll kill your potatoes. Is you let them cook too long. It's not that they get too brown, is that that's when the grease starts to soak in. Because the potato French
then
fries
they're no
don't really
longer-
absorb that much grease.
They're not
Unless
crunchy
they've been in
anymore.
When they have water inside, the water's turning to steam, pushing out. which keeps
Exactly.
the grease
Yeah.
from coming in. You let it cook too long, the water.
That's
is
why
gone,
you have to make
Exactly.
sure you
and the grease comes
or
in.
if
cooking
you-
hash
if you
browns.
don't
You
have
have to
the
make sure
temperature
all the water
high
is
enough.
out. If they're frozen, you have to let them. You have to basically de-water them, patting them down with stuff before you can even try to grill them. Otherwise, you got mush. Nobody
You must be
likes-
doing
I
it
like
wrong
mush.
because
Well,
we don't
yeah.
do that. And we make great hash browns.
Whatever you do.
So those are different kinds of meals. I don't know. I can pick one single one because I like a lot of variety when it comes to dinner. Now, one thing nobody has mentioned, which is one of the things that we do often, and we did this as a kid, is Brinner, breakfast for dinner.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Oh, definitely.
Martin
it was
loves
occasionally
that.
a thing. Yeah.
Rare.
We
loves
do
that.
this,
We
two or
still
three
do it
times
to
a
this
month.
day.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Because it's a great quick meal. You know,
And it's filling.
and it's filling. Yeah, and who doesn't like sausage and bacon and eggs for dinner at any time of the day? So
Indeed.
Now,
Well-
I've got two things for our listeners on this.
well, hurry because we're at
One-
1:45.
One, I apologize if if these testimonials have sounded like a video dating service tape from the 80s or late 70s with our descriptions of our meals. But one thing that I'd like to say is, and I know I've seen Tim struggle with this. I'm sure Stephen has struggled with this, and probably everybody. While your grandparents, parents, and what have you are still alive, get those recipes
Absolutely.
from them.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Get them on tape talking about it.
That's right. Yeah.
Just whatever
Let them
you
let
gotta
them go
do.
wild because
Yes.
my grandmother's magnificent fried chicken recipe that we would have reunions that you would have hay wagons full of food, and my mother's cousins would all come to me and says, "Which one of these is Aunt Teresa May's?"
Yeah.
Because I want her fried chicken. It was always the first one to
Yep.
go. It's lost to the ages
Yes.
because she couldn't. She tried. They tried to listen. Something about it didn't translate.
Yes.
People of our parents' generation and prior
Mm-hmm.
did not cook by recipe.
No,
No.
that's right. By the
And
heart.
that's the thing.
That-
by the
That's
heart.
They cooked by learning at their elbow of the
Yeah.
Well,
cooker.
what the hell's a dash? What's a pinch?
Yes.
All
That
all
does-
that's and
that much.
How do you manage working on this stove in this room?
yeah, I mean
with
it's
this skillet. They just knew it.
and
Yeah.
and yes, it sounds like we're being very sexist here, as if women are the only people that cook. That's obviously we've talked about how we've
Yes.
done stuff, but it's just the thing. The women cooked back then every
Mhm.
single meal, every day.
Yeah.
So a lot of that
Practice.
stuff, and when they're growing up, they're doing it with their moms.
Mhm.
Well,
So a
in-
lot of that stuff
in the
is
farm
not- you
communities,
just
that was
pick it up.
that was a division of labor. I mean,
Right.
men are in the fields along with the hands, and my great grandmother was famous, for her long days because she's feeding 3 meals a day,
Mhm.
and 2 of those are with the hired help. They've had my mother would talk about when she was a girl. They would have 16 guys in the dining room for lunchtime because these are the guys working the fields, and
Mhm.
she's got to prepare this every single day. But you get
It's like, how can you afford to have a farm? Because how can you feed all those people?
well. There's some,
you can,
there's
you can barely afford to have a
well,
farm.
but most of the stuff she's preparing was grown there.
yeah,
Very
Sure.
little.
Mhm.
Everything else that's just figured into the equation.
One of the things I didn't realize this, just talking about feeding that many people. Did you know that back in the day, like pre 1900s, when you went to a bar, they fed you. Like they would have a table of sandwiches out. So that was to get you in because apparently that was cheap. And then
the
of course
booze was the
you
expensive part.
yeah
the
the
booze.
beer was
The liquor
yeah,
was expensive. Yeah.
yeah. I thought that was
realize that.
wild. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's one of the reasons that I mean, my mother was. You're talking about she's born in 1941, so you're talking about 51, 55, all those times when she was in grade school. That's what was going on. That's how her grandparents, her mother's family, they would run the farm, and they had a hell of a lot. I wish Cajun were here; he could delve into how that's changed because it's all automated now. But in those days, it was guys that that's what they do.
To go to your point, Robert, going through college, we knew where every bar was giving away free appetizers or
Yes.
half-price appetizers,
That's right.
and for the price of a drink.
Yeah.
And there were days that I'd never paid for food, and I just bought beer.
Right.
And so,
Well, and
that continues.
and they would do things like salt pork or country ham,
To
stuff
make
that
you
is
thirsty.
stuff that makes you thirsty. And of course, that was eventually replaced with peanuts
Salt.
Yeah.
because they're salted, or pretzels. One last thing, real quick. I know this is your show, but since we talked about everything else, favorite dessert, one thing. Let's just do that. Can we finish up with
Like
it?
Bananas
round.
Foster.
Bananas Foster, okay.
Oh, coconut cream pie.
Can't have it anymore, but cheesecake.
Yeah.
Oh,
A New York style cheesecake.
Yeah.
My mom's cheesecake, which is a no bake, very similar to a New York style cheesecake, only much creamier.
Yeah, I
with
like it. Good creamy.
Yeah, yeah. And you just put it in the refrigerator to
Yeah.
let it set up.
Mhm.
My brother makes it perfectly. My wife has tried to figure out how, and she's real close. She's real close, but that is the bomb.
Mhm.
He did.
okay. Otterites, we have shared with you for almost 2 hours our favorite recipes, cooking styles, and hopefully we've made you hungry.
I never thought we'd go 2 hours with this.
But I do.
Possible.
I don't want to stop there. I want you to send me your favorite recipe, and we'll put it up on the blog. Brother Andre at snakesandotters.com, brother being BR.
BR Andre.
Andre at snakesandotters.com, and we'll put it up on there, and we'll share a favorite recipe.
Absolutely.
right.
You might
Well
change
done,
this.
brother.
Yeah.
And then what do we have coming up, Francis?
We're going back to history, guys. I know that our episode on the Habsburgs is still our most #1 downloaded one. We're going back to European history. It seems to be very popular. We've kind of danced around this one a lot, and we've talked to we did a Louis XIV episode, but we're going to go into the French Revolution. This was a watershed moment in European and world history, and we're going to kind of go deep with how did we get there? How do you find how do you reach this point where you're literally lopping off people's heads day in and day out? What brought us to those points? The roots of the French Revolution. That's where we're going next episode. You're going to love it, so be here.
We hope you enjoyed another pointless discussion of eternal questions. Remember, new episodes drop every second and fourth Friday at 6 a.m. Eastern, just in time for your morning commute. And every fifth Friday, we drop a special Hoopajoob episode. Spread the word we are on all the major platforms, and leave us a review. That helps others find us. We're also on Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube, as well as our website, snakesandotters.com. Join us next time. Same snake time, same otter channel.